Welcome, everyone, to episode 75 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we are talking about Longlegs. We're going to get to the weekly watches, but first, obviously, got to address the elephant in the room.
Or the elephant
Not,
not in the room.
yeah, the elephant not in the room.
He's
Um,
outside.
Cinema
He's
Joe.
getting
Uh,
outside,
we,
"Come on in!"
we promised Cinema Joe as actually not we promised because I wasn't here
Doug did
last
that.
week. Doug,
Okay,
I had
okay.
Doug and
nothing to do with
Owen,
that
Doug and
either.
Owen on last
No,
week's
no,
episode
I tell him never
promised.
promise things,
That's true. That's true. But anyway,
and
I
he
was not
did it
here
right
last
in
week
front of my
because
face.
I was busy. And on that episode, Doug and Owen promised
Doug,
that Cinema Joe would be. Doug promised that Cinema Joe would be here this week as a guest. Listen, we just kind of struggled to schedule that. It's difficult, and it didn't work out. But Joe wants to come on a future episode. We want him on a future episode, so we will make that happen for people. That is going to be a thing that happens at some point, but it is not happening this week while we talk about long legs.
Yeah.
It'll
No,
just be
Joe
the three
saw
of us
Owen's
as
Longlegs review and was
usual.
like, "I don't know if I can
my
do this."
review, my review. There's no
Oh,
negative word in my review.
yeah. Oh, I mean, Doug's
There's 2
review is even
stars,
more
though.
negative.
You wrote a paper why it sucks.
We're gonna get to long legs, but first we could talk about what we watched this past week. I have 2 weeks worth of vlogs to do, but I didn't watch a lot of movies, so maybe I could go first because I was busy and not
Yeah, if
watching
you
movies.
want.
Sure. When did we? Well, what was the last thing we recorded? Okay, Maxine, you guys recorded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before Maxine, I saw A Quiet Place Day One in theaters, new movie that we did not cover on the podcast. It was okay. It's like the worst Quiet Place movie of the three, and also like
Really?
still fine. I don't like they're all like kind of the
So
same
you
thing.
prefer John Krasinski as the director of the pictures?
Wrong.
But,
I
I
think if
mean,
I think if Michael Sarnowski is
is
that
he
his name? Michael Sarnowski? I think if he
Do you
directed the
think
first
this is the
one,
weakest script?
maybe. I don't know. I
well,
just
I
like
mean, well,
it's just
What
like
do you-
no, it's just like no, it's like it would be a better movie if there weren't two of them before it. Like it's just like like a third Quiet Place
Okay,
movie is just like kind of a lot. Like we
so
just
you're
don't
just
really
over
need
it.
to do it
You're just
again.
over it.
Yeah, but like I don't think we ever needed more than the first one, which I liked as a movie on its own.
Yeah.
But then we did, and I didn't mind the second one because Killian Murphy was in it. But then this third one doesn't have Killian Murphy in it, so I'm just like, it's I love Lupita Nyong'o, she's
Actors.
awesome in it. But it's just like I don't know, I didn't
Yeah.
need it. It's like
Sure.
it's not a bad movie.
Sure.
It's
Sure. Sure.
cool.
Sure.
I watched Twister, which we were talking about before recording, to prepare for Twisters, which we were talking about next week. Twister, really fun. People hate that movie, or a lot of people hate that movie. It's dumb. Like it's a dumb movie, and it's also really fun. I had a great time. I thought it was jolly. Todd Field is in it, which is cool. Uh, fun movie.
Check it out.
I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Clue in my hotel room when I was away this past weekend.
Where you
Both
ain't
two of
pick
my
up our
favorite movies.
calls.
Yeah, when I wasn't picking up your calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre felt like just great choice because it was 4th of July weekend, and I was like, fuck yeah, watch a fun American movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then Clue was kind of to you know,
Yeah.
cleanse the palate after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, watch something cute and fun. Both two of my favorites, that's obvious. I saw Maxine, wasn't on the Maxine episode.
Yeah. You want to give it a little spiel?
I literally I said this to you guys, and I think I said it in a TikTok, maybe, I don't know, but like I
Tic
just
Tac.
don't I just don't have a lot to say. I just like I'm glad I wasn't on the episode because I don't think I could
Yeah.
have
That was
said anything
a
that
good one to
wasn't.
miss.
Yeah, I don't think I could have said anything that wasn't something that you two already said.
Yeah.
I probably agree across the board on that one. So it's just bad, and I didn't like it. And I watched it in a cold little Vermont theater with like the screen really high up. It was it
Yeah.
was not a great experience. They had really weird popcorn too, by the way. I don't know if this is a Vermont thing or if it's like
Describe it.
Yeah.
other parts of the country have
How did
different
it
tastes.
feel?
It would be like I would like eat the popcorn,
Hmm.
and when you first bite it, it's like it just feels kind of normal, and then it like sits in your mouth for a couple seconds, and then like there's like a cardboardy, like weird, gross aftertaste, and I was like, ugh, and it like made me like I didn't like it. It felt like normal popcorn at first, but then it felt fake as soon as you started like chewing on it for a bit, and I was like, I don't like
The
this.
popcorn at
Um,
my theater has been weird recently, and I went there yesterday and I saw Horizon with my dad, and we went to get drinks, and they were like, before you buy these like fountain drinks, we only have these. So like, you know how they have those like the big soda machines and like you pick like the
yeah, the
soda. They were like,
Coca-Cola
we
machine.
only
The
have
freestyle.
5 drinks in these. Like, so
Wow.
look at the, and it was like really weird because like the popcorn has been like off, and like they're running out of soda. Like, I don't know what's going on. I blaming Despicable Me, but also Despicable Me. You have
Despicable Me
Horizon, and then you
kinda
have Longlegs. It's all, that's 3 demographics that you're hitting there.
Mhm.
Obviously, some of them are making more money than others, but like the
Really?
people are at the theaters right now. There are people at the movie theaters
Inside
right
Out
now.
2 making more money than all those, actually.
True.
You forgot to mention.
Well,
Inside
yeah,
Out
I'm
2
just
is
saying
still
Despicable Me is newer,
going strong.
but I'm
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
saying like people are at the movies right now. For
and they're
demographics
taking
are,
all of Owen's soda.
yeah. There's no more
It's
soda.
expensive.
They're scraping the bottom of the barrel for popcorn. It's a problem. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Post Maxine, pre Longlegs, I only watched 2 movies this week. One of which was Foe because I wanted to watch a Paul Mescal movie after the Gladiator 2 trailer dropped, and Foe was
Amazing
one that
trailer.
I
I don't
put
think we
off for a
talked
little
about
bit.
that.
Yeah, I think it dropped on Sunday actually after you guys recorded
Yeah,
Maxine, if I'm not
Yeah.
really
mistaken.
awesome
So
trailer.
we could talk about it in the news if you guys want. I didn't include it, but if we're excited to talk about Gladiator 2, we could. Anyway, I want to watch a Paul Mescal movie, so I watched Foe. It's like not the worst thing in the world. Like people have talked about it like it was awful. And I don't know if it was because it came out at the same time as that Black Mirror episode, which is like kind of the same, but also really not the same. Like a lot of people were like, this is the same thing as that Black Mirror episode. And I was like, I guess, but like it kind of does a completely different thing. So not really. I don't know.
Well, my
Um,
understanding is that the book came out and then the Black Mirror episode ripped off the
yes.
book
That
and
is
then
my
the
understanding as
yeah.
well. So Foe is based on a book that came out in like 2017.
Yeah.
So it's kind of impossible to be like, oh, this just ripped off Black Mirror because it's literally adapted from a book that existed before it. But regardless, I thought Foe was good. I like okay, good is probably an overstatement, but Paul Mescal and Saoirse Ronan are in it, so it's
Hmm.
pretty fun. And then afterwards, I watched Free Fire in my continuing journey to
Freaky
watch every Cillian
Fire.
Murphy movie. Free Fire, I think, was like I didn't know it was like the A24 logo popped up before it, and I was like, didn't know that.
Oh my god, that's my favorite director. You must have gotten so excited.
You
Yeah,
just got
no, I
you
know.
got way more excited to
Um,
watch the movie.
no, it was like kind of silly actually. It was like a good time. Everybody is giving like the craziest. Army Hammer is I hate to say really good in it. Like he's kind of doing the most ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
And
He does ridiculous shit
yeah, he does
on and
do
off the
that.
court.
Yeah. Brie Larson's really fun in it. Like Cillian Murphy, obviously my favorite part of it. Like it's just like I don't know. It's a weird movie because like the action almost doesn't make sense. Like it's like a one location kind of like shootout movie, but you don't really know where everybody is in relation to each other the entire time. Like people are like shooting at each other, but you don't know like who is trying to kill who and like where the person they're trying to kill is in the room. Like you can't tell, which sounds terrible, but it kind of made it pretty fun. Like it was like, I don't know. I thought it was silly. I thought it was a good time. So I liked Free Fire. And then I watched Longlegs twice, which we will talk about. Doug, what did you watch?
Um not too much. I watched Vampire, the Carl
Carl
Theodore
Theodore.
Dreyer
Yeah.
film.
Liar.
Kind of it's like considered like the first experimental like horror film. Uh there might be an annoying person that hears that and is like, actually, but it's like kind of like what it's like talked about as. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I thought I was gonna like it even more than I did, but I still liked it. Um uh yeah, it's cool. I don't know. There's like it has like a cool vibe. It's kind of like a tone poem. It feels kind of like a proto Eraserhead in some ways.
Mhm.
Um, but anyways, yeah, I watched that, and then I watched Cure, the
Yeah.
the Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie, which is you
We'll
know,
talk about it.
super genius
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
masterpiece movie. And that's it. That's it.
Owen,
All right.
did you watch?
I'm kind of like confused where I'm going back because are recording on Sunday right now. But I'm just gonna go back to. I, I don't know. I've probably said like, oh, I'm going to watch A Man Escaped in the last episode. I don't know if I watched it by then, but I did watch A Man Escaped. As I'm continuing on watching all these Bresson films, that movie is incredible. Really, really good. I also watched Balthazar, which I really liked as well. Not as much as Pickpocket and A Man Escaped, but still really good. I did end up seeing Kinds of Kindness, which we didn't do an episode on because weird release, but I finally ended up seeing it. Wasn't a huge fan of it, but I did watch that. I did. I rewatched The Hulk, the 2003 movie, because
Yes.
um, my brother was on Netflix scrolling, and we were like, "Oh, let's watch The Matrix because The Matrix is on Netflix." And then he saw Ang Lee's Hulk, and then he picked that instead. And then he fell asleep, and then me and my mom were just watching Ang Lee's Hulk, which is a movie I like, but I would rather watch The Matrix, obviously, but I do
Yeah.
really still like Ang Lee's Hulk, and I do like
Do
that
you
movie.
have opinions about Red Hulk and Captain America: Brave New World?
What are we doing with Harrison Ford? Like, no, I don't
We're
have too
giving him a
many.
lot of money.
I mean, Red Hulk's a cool character, but I don't know. I'm not seeing that movie.
Yeah.
I watched The Ice Storm, which wasn't really like a planned Ang Lee thing. It just kind of like I was like my brother turned on Hulk, and then a day or two later, I was like, oh, I finally am gonna watch The Ice Storm, which is Ang Lee's film from 1997. Really sad movie, very different from the Hulk, but
Yeah, you don't say.
it opens with Tobey Maguire reading Fantastic Four comics, so there is like some
That's
crazy
cool.
connection there with some superhero stuff. But yeah, Ang Lee, terrific director. And then I watched Seconds, which is the John Frankenheimer film from 1966 with Rock Hudson as the lead, which I've talked about Rock
About
Hudson in
one
some other
second.
episodes with like all the Heaven Allows and Pillow Talk and stuff. I think he's fantastic. So I wanted to check this out for him. And he's pretty good. And it wasn't my favorite film. It felt like, it did feel like Twilight Zone, Black Mirror type of stuff, which isn't always my favorite, but I think it was fine. It's like it's a cool little movie. And then I was watching a bunch of Popeye shorts because I wanted to I was gonna watch the Popeye movie with Shelley Duvall because Shelley Duvall passed, but I
Mhm.
was in a call with people and I was like, I'm not gonna watch that movie in the call, so I'm gonna watch these Popeye shorts while I'm here. So I watched those, and then I
Yeah.
got out of that call and I watched the movie with Robin Williams, the Robert Altman movie. And I've seen maybe a few Robert Altmans. I think I've only seen The Long Goodbye, and it was a few years ago. But I really like that movie. But I'm not too like versed in Altman's filmography. But I wanted to watch Popeye because I like Popeye. That's Popeye's fun. And I think it's pretty good. I think Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall are like fantastic. I think the movie is kind of ugly, like they're in this like big set, like it's very like all these sets like an iconic kind of set where like it still exists. You can still go visit like the Popeye set town. It's like a whole thing, but I think it's like really brown and it's kind of really gross. And there are some like kind of cartoon elements to it in terms of like an occasional transition or just like the performances. It's very like physical comedy and just like Robin Williams feels straight out of the cartoon. Shelley Duvall feels straight out of the cartoon, but the kind of world they live in is like really brown and ugly. And so like that's not my favorite. And I don't think like the kind of nothing about the camp work or anything is too crazy, but I think it's a really fun movie, but not my favorite. And then I did watch In the Mouth of Madness, the John Carpenter movie, and I feel like I'm gonna start watching a bunch of the Carpenters that I haven't seen in a little bit because I really like that movie. This is one that I've kind of just been, I don't know, holding off for a while, but it's one that I've just been aware of and know that people really love it, but just haven't actually sat down to watch it. but that one's a really good one. I'm Carpenter's weird because I'm not crazy about his Halloween movie, but and I saw The Thing like 4 years ago, and I was like, "Oh, this rocks," but I haven't seen it since. And I really like Christine, um, but like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a bunch of films that I are on his filmography that I'll probably really like. But and then I just rewatched Horizon yesterday, which that's pretty
Have you
much.
seen The Fog?
No, that is one that I want to get to. I downloaded Starman. I think Starman might be the next one I watch. But also I think The Fog is another one that I'd probably watch soon.
Yeah, The Fog is good.
But there's some other ones like I think Ghost of Mars looks cool. There's some other like underrated.
Yeah, Ghost of Mars looks cool. I haven't seen that one.
But even like I haven't seen They Live, or there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of
Yeah, I do want to watch They
kind
Live.
of an iconic director that
I really want to watch The Ward, which is
with with
a very early Sydney Sweeney picture.
City Sweeney
Uh
is playing
like a
Amber
9-year-old.
Heard's the
Yeah.
younger version of Amber Heard. Not yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Not a really good place to transition there, but let's talk about Longlegs,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the movie that came out this past
Which what
weekend. That
similarly to The Ward, Longlegs features an actress and then the younger actress playing a younger version of her.
yeah, I don't know if that was the best one,
Good
but
one.
you're
Okay.
right. I guess that it works.
What I said was
Okay,
objectively truthful.
yeah, I think. Hmm, I think
Osgood Perkins.
Yeah,
logical
Oscar Perkins,
place to
the son of Anthony
start.
Perkins.
Yes, that's true. Uh, I don't know. I was gonna say we start with this kind of expectation versus reality dialogue that is happening
Hmm.
currently about what people went into this movie expecting and what they got and how that either made them like or dislike the movie. In Doug's case, he went into the movie wanting to dislike it, and then he did dislike
No,
it, so nobody's
no,
surprised.
no, no, no,
But some of
no.
us went into the movie differently.
This makes me feel like I need to talk less around you. I'm like, that's not what happened.
No, you could say mean things. Owen, what did you expect going into the movie compared to what you got?
I kind of tried to avoid the not maybe say not the marketing, because it's kind of impossible to avoid the marketing, but I don't really remember seeing the trailers in theaters. I might have, but like I rewatched the trailers after seeing the movie, and I was like, oh, I did not see these. So I was aware of like this is the scariest movie of the decade stuff, but in terms of like knowing really anything about the movie, like I probably had I know for certain I'd seen like the really early teasers that were like a photo, and it would just like be creepy. But from that all that, I really didn't have like a specific expectation or a set expectation. I was just kind of there was a feeling where it was like, oh, this is an event movie. Like this is a big deal. This is like a
Yeah,
big movie.
Yeah.
So there was a level of like really excitement because I was like, oh, this could have been one of my favorites of the year. I'm excited for this. But there wasn't like oh, this has to be like this, or because I didn't really know what it was going to be about. But listening to Oz Perkins kind of talk about it, there is like a level of like I feel like he did want the viewers to expect certain things and then kind of derive them for that. So I don't know if like I don't know. I'm not. I think there is definitely like a like this movie isn't really trying to be like the scariest thing ever. So if you're
I don't
expecting
think
that,
so
you
either.
might be
Yeah.
kind of. But that wasn't like I was. There was part of me like yeah, it's a horror movie. I kind of want to be scared, but I don't think that's why it didn't work. Like that's not why it didn't like work for me.
Yeah. I think well, like I obviously want to be scared,
Yeah.
but I like it's never really going to be like a make or break for me, and I think
No,
I
no, no, no.
think because I think because I like all the marketing leading up to it for the longest time was that it was like this is going to be the scariest movie that comes out and blah 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 blah, and like I was excited for that on its own. Like I was excited to watch a movie that would scare me that bad because a movie hasn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
But then like the week leading up to its release, so many people who got the opportunity to see the movie early we're
Well,
just
like,
like, it's not
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So because I saw that, I immediately like shifted gears to being
Mhm.
like, oh, is this just gonna be much closer to like Zodiac than it is to like an actual horror movie? And Doug's shaking his head, but like it was. Like it's
Well, that
that's
was it. It
what
was
it
like
like
people were talking about
like
Seven,
it
people were talking
was
about Silence of the Lambs.
I'm not saying it's like I'm saying it's similar in that it is like a detective serial killer thriller. It is not real. I mean, there's like there's more horror than there is in Zodiac, but like the scariest moments in Longlegs are pretty similar to like the scariest moments in Zodiac, where it's like a picnic thing or like the guy in the basement or whatever. Like it's like way more just like a thriller with a few jump scares that are pretty intense. But like minus that, I think it's much closer to like Zodiac than it is to like a lot of the horror movies that I might have expected it to be going like before I changed those expectations. I think it's more of a thriller.
All of the marketing was talking about how it's just gonna be how it's like like in the main trailer there's a quote that's like the best thriller since Silence of the Lambs,
Yeah, I
and it's
literally
like
don't remember watching
yeah, I know
that.
That's
that was like
just
literally in the trailer like
yeah.
so that's like my like I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of like that, and then my experience, and like this is not a criticism, like this is just expectations versus reality, which is separate, but like my experience was like I was expecting it to be kind of like Silence of the Lambs, and then I was like, oh, this is very not similar, this is very dissimilar, there's like references and like ideas that are sharing, but then this is more kind of like at the end of the day it's kind of like Hereditary if there was like a cop in it,
Well,
is kind of my
I
experience.
will say in terms of expectations and reality, the trailers specifically weren't like whatever, but Nicolas Cage himself, I think there was an element where like there was that bit where it's like they put the black box over his face and they're hiding
Yeah,
him. They're hiding him. And it's like,
yeah.
okay, like I really love Nicolas Cage as an actor. And when you're hiding him, it's like, okay, what are we gonna get from him? What are we gonna get? And it's not necessarily like I don't know exactly how I feel about the performance. I'm still kind of kind of creating my opinion on the entire piece, but I'll say I was like, oh, that's it. Like, not that they're like it's entirely like bad, but it was like, oh, that's just kind of a It's very Nicolas Cage with just like a bunch of makeup. It's like it's not like him doing something that like I wouldn't expect him to do or like kind of blew me away in any way. But in terms of like if they just showed him in the trailer and I was like, okay, this is what we're getting, right? And again doesn't really affect my like feelings on the film, but it was a feeling I had when watching it was like, oh, okay, like this is like not like something I don't know. It's very odd the way that they kind of hit it because I don't think it's like such a crazy
To talk about Kevin, so Kevin said like, "Oh, I didn't want to like the movie." Doug wanted to hate the movie. Doug talked about
He
in our
did
private
though. He
conversation.
did say
Doug
this.
talked
In
about
a
in our private
private conversation, he
conversation.
was like, "This
No,
movie looks like shit, and I think it's gonna be bad." Like
that's
he
not what he
literally
said.
said that.
That's not what
No,
he
he
said.
literally said
No,
that.
it's
You're
not. No, it's
you're
not.
changing
No,
your
it's
words.
not.
We had a
No, it's
conversation where you
not.
were like,
No,
"I
it's
think
not.
this
No, it's
movie's gonna
not.
suck."
No, it's not. Here's what happened, right?
okay.
Here's what fucking
That's what
happened.
happened. I'm
That
telling
Micah
viewers, I'm telling you the
Monroe
truth, by the way.
heartbeat commercial. It's not even really a trailer. Now, Micah
Micah
Monroe
Monroe, yeah.
heartbeat commercial was fucking posted, and I watched it and I was like, I really hate this ad. I was like, this ad is like, this is like anti-marketing for me, where it's like marketing like this makes me actively not want to watch something, and I communicated that idea maybe in like a less eloquent way, and then and then K Meeks was like, "Oh man, this fucking contrarian asshole, bro. This fucking
That's
guy."
not. I never said anything about you saying it. I just know that you said that you weren't excited for the movie after watching that.
Yeah, I did. Because that specific ad is like anti-marketing for me, where I was like, this is like kind of corny. It's like, you know how they used to do those can't think of a specific movie, but you'll know it. It's like they used to do commercials where it's like they show people and like the test
Yes, they did
screening
it
or
for
whatever
Paranormal
watching it,
Activity. Is
and it's like them
probably the biggest
screaming, and
example.
it's like look how loud they scream, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that shit is corny as fuck, bro.
I
That's
loved that stuff, but I guess that was a trend when I was, like, 14, so
Yeah.
that's probably why I liked it. But
Or
that
it's
stuff
like
used to get me pumped for movies, like, when I saw a whole crowd screaming at a movie, I was like, "That's awesome."
I don't know. It's like, but like the Micah Monroe. I hate even talking about her name because it's like it's not her fault.
Yeah, yeah.
That ad is like where it's like her.
She just sees
It's like a
Nicolas
bad
Cage.
YouTube video. It's like her resting heartbeat is 76 beats per minute. And then it's like and then the line underneath it fades in and it's like it peaked her heartbeat here was 176 beats per minute. And then you might as well do like the fucking Vine boom like boom. Like I have that reveal and I'm like okay. I know like I have a lot of questions about how this worked and how you guys captured this. Like, there's a lot of question marks around what the fuck any of this means, but like whatever, I guess. Like sure. I don't know. It really annoyed me. I'm getting worked up because of how annoying I think that kind of advertising is. But yeah, that was my thing, and that has nothing to do with the actual movie. Okay, that's what I was just getting at. Was that I don't like that. I don't like that ad. That's it.
Okay. I thought we were talking about Nicolas Cage.
I had that because Owen was talking about that
Nicolas
ad.
Cage is
Yeah.
in that.
Yes.
That's the
I'm
ad where
aware.
Nicolas
I'm
Cage
aware that
has the
yeah, I'm
black.
aware that Nicolas Cage is in it. No, I like Nicolas Cage, and not just
Hot
that,
take.
but no, I meant in the movie, asshole.
Oh, okay.
I
Well, whoa, I don't know. I
You fucking asshole. Jesus.
um no, listen, I know a lot of people who and people in my theater as well who when Nicolas Cage shows up and starts doing
They
Nicolas
started
Cage
giggling.
things, we're laughing and like it's like I don't like you just like I don't know. I don't know that this is true for everybody or that it is even true for a chunk of people, but it feels like very often people are just like trying to be disappointed. Does that make sense? Like it's like, and I'm not talking about you guys. This isn't you guys. This is more like the average moviegoer. But like, it feels like the average
Well,
moviegoer like
about
hears that
horror
a movie is
movies.
really scary,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "I'm gonna try to not be scared, and I'm gonna try to
yeah.
poke fun at it."
There are some people like
And
that for sure.
and it
There
felt that way when I saw Skinamarink, and people were just like laughing and like not buying into it. And it
Cinemarin's
felt
like
that
the
way
worst example
again.
for that.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Sure, but it felt that way again here, where like Nicolas Cage does something that like yes, does it make it very obvious that he's Nicolas Cage? Kind of, yeah. And we're gonna get into spoilers, by the way. But
Yes.
like, does it make it very obvious that he's Nicolas Cage when he gets in the car and starts fucking like screaming like Nicolas Cage? Yeah, it does. Like that's obviously Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
If a serial killer were to do that, I would be really uncomfortable. If a weird fucking creepy guy did that in their car for no reason, I'd be really uncomfortable. I wouldn't like that, me personally. So like if you're making a movie and like you're putting us in this world and like you want to scare us, it's like, yeah, that's Nicolas Cage, but it's like if you go into a horror movie trying to not be scared, like trying to like one up the movie and then be like, haha, Nicolas Cage, like, yeah, you're not gonna be fucking scared, dude. And like I get that. I get that. Like you can't separate those things, especially like in your guys' case where like you're way too familiar with Nicolas Cage. Obviously, like you watch a ton of movies, so
Yeah.
it's different. But like for the average person, if you're just like trying to like not buy into the scariness of the scary movie that you're watching because you want to be scared, then like yeah, you're gonna be let down. Like you're not gonna be scared. And like I watched the movie and the opening scene happens and I'm like, that's fucking creepy. And so then
Yeah.
immediately I'm like, this is a creepy thing that's happening. And then when he shows up and it's the creepy guy from the beginning and he starts doing weird things, I'm like, yeah, I don't like when the creepy guy from the beginning of the movie is doing weird things. Personally, I don't want to see that. Like that
Yeah.
makes me uncomfortable. So like, yeah, I was scared. Like it's like I know it's Nicolas Cage. Like I was watching it and I was like, certainly that's Nicolas Cage. It's kind of impossible to be like it's not. But like it's Nicolas Cage doing a really creepy thing to me. I was like, Nicolas Cage as a serial killer is a creepy idea. Personally, like I was like, yeah, that's a serial killer that makes me uncomfortable, because I wanted to be uncomfortable. Like I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it's like I'm not trying to like
No, yeah.
one up whatever movie I'm watching.
There
I'm just like I'm
is
gonna just buy in.
it's horror movies and it's just kind of movies in general, but we see it so many times where people kind of their kind of relationship with the movie is, oh, I am like better than the movie, and like you have to like they're here and the movie has to like meet them there instead of meeting
Yeah,
them at the movie. I will say that opening scene, I was like, uh oh. uh-oh. Like, I
A
that
good
open
way or a bad
no,
way?
no, no, no. I was like, "Uh-oh, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this movie."
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I mean, like a lot of issues, but like it just kind of I was like, oh, I really didn't have like all the words for it or the feelings for it there, but I was like, the title kind of sequence happened, and I was like, I oh, okay, I'm not sure. Because at that point, like again, I'd seen like some of the marketing, but I really didn't have a grasp on like how it was gonna look or like really any of it. I was just like, oh, I'm excited for this new movie. People say it's good. And then that first like sequence happened, I was like, uh-oh, I don't know. But then I was like, okay, whatever, fine. Like and then it kind of just kept going and I was but yeah, I don't know. People are weird about movies. I My theater was pretty packed. This movie is like people are seeing this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
For
and it's
reference, this is the biggest opening weekend for Neon
yeah,
ever by,
it's
like, a
huge.
large margin,
Yeah,
and
by like
in the
$10 million.
opening weekend alone, it became Neon's 3rd highest grossing movie
Yeah.
ever, so it will
Um,
likely be the
Yeah.
1st highest
and
grossing.
we talk about like, or not maybe we, but like people online, and like it's kind of a conversation over the past few years about like theater etiquette and like people in the movies. And there's like a I think you even said something, Kevin, about it, like in one of the like conversations about like I'd prefer there to be less people in this theater because like
Yeah,
there is like oh we want movies to make money because like that's good for the industry whatever. But there is like a level of like people seeing these ads and being like oh it's the scariest movie ever, so like we gotta go see it, right? Because I know so many people that saw this movie that like they're not seeing every new release opening night whatever. I know some people who saw Longlegs, and there was like this kind of environment in my theater of like people who don't normally go to the movies at the movies. There was like I said it in my TikTok, but there was a guy. There was two people in like front of me on their phones, and but not even like so during the trailers, the Alien Romulus trailer was playing, and this guy was on Letterbox, and he was trying to find the movie, but he like went to Alien, and then he was just like on Ridley Scott's page, and then he was like he kept clicking on like Alien Covenant, and he was getting like really confused. But this guy was on Letterbox like the whole time, so I was like, oh, this guy's like he uses the app. He had like no idea how to find Alien Romulus, which I thought was really funny. But then when the movie started, he went on like the weather app in like the first 10 minutes, and I'm like, what are we like? I don't know. There's such like a weird like vibe, and then I think maybe like the last 20 minutes, he was reading Longlegs reviews while the movie, like anytime like there would be like a dialogue scene, he would be like, "Oh, this is boring," and he'd start reading reviews for the movie, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
these are the
Very
same
weird.
people who made Everything Everywhere All at Once the highest
Yeah,
rated movie in Letterboxd
no, no, but
history.
it's very funny because it's like, oh, this is like he was using that app a lot, and I was like, I don't know how often he uses it outside of being in a movie theater, but it seems like someone who's on the app. And I was like, this guy does not like movies. He has like zero like
Yeah.
brain rot, like TikTok brain, can't pay attention in a movie theater. Which I was like,
Yeah.
this is really weird because like I don't see people use Letterbox out in the wild that often, but like when you see someone like back in the theater like scrolling on it during the movie, I was like, okay, this guy's a jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of like theater experience, actually talking about the
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
now,
yeah.
you mentioned the opening scene, which like I I was under the impression that kind of surprises me. I guess it doesn't surprise me, but like I was under the impression from multiple things that I read, like I read multiple negative
People who
reviews
like
of the
really
movie
like the
that were
opening
like, I
scene.
didn't like the movie, but I thought it was going to be better when I watched the opening scene. So I'm kind of surprised that your reaction was like
Yeah.
you watched the opening scene and
Um,
didn't like it. Because Doug, did you like it? I loved the beginning, and it seemed like even people who hated the movie thought that it started well.
Yeah, no, that opening scene is the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah,
That opening scene, I think, strikes. It's one of those things where I think that a lot of people that I don't even know. It kind of like a lot of the early reactions talking about how like haunting and like this like really intense feeling that they got from the movie. The only time I had an experience that even like close to some of those like early poll quotes and stuff was in that opening scene. I think that he
yeah,
really kind of conjured something evil there, and I think a big part of that to me, right, is that Nicolas Cage doesn't really say a lot. It's
yeah.
more like his
Okay.
like presence than it is like him like
yeah.
do like really. like hamming it up, which he does in every other scene
Yeah.
he's in, and it's there's something so just inherently fucking menacing about just a creepy guy, right? A creepy guy just like preying on a little girl, and there's
Yeah.
nobody else there. There's something that it's I don't want to say it's like, oh, it's easy to make something like that scary, but it's like it's effective. It's like that is
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Like you're
scary.
always gonna be bothered by it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it
I
activates empathy. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that was like I was about to ask that, which like you kind of hinted at, I guess, which is like so do you think it's a better movie if there's less Nicolas Cage? Like it's if there's like more scenes where like he lives on like the edges of the frame and like you only see his face for like half seconds and like you feel him around but you don't actually have entire scenes of him talking, is it a better movie that way?
it's a scarier movie, but I don't
Okay.
think that necessarily means that it's like a better piece.
Sure.
Does that make sense? Because
That
I
does
think
I
that,
mean, yeah, because it seems like your
yeah,
complaints aren't really about that.
yeah,
Well,
um,
so I know you. I'm assuming you guys listened to the like Osgood Perkins interview with
Yes.
um, and like him talking about like how he thinks like Nicolas Cage's character is like pathetic.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, and a lot of like the ideas he talks about in that interview are interesting. But I'm not sure if like I'm totally like buying into or it really all works for me in terms of like how the character kind of fits with the tone of the rest of the film, where it's like I kind of like Nicolas Cage's character and performance as like a singular item, but I don't know if like it works for me connected to everything else. So it's tough for me to say like whether I would want more or less of him, because like if he was in like a different movie, it's like I might want way more
Yeah.
of him. But it's like it might work better for the kind of tone of the film, but it's also his role is to stand out. So it's like kind of a confusing thing. To kind of go back to the kind of first scene for the kind of why that didn't work for me is because it felt like it was like Doug said, like it was supposed to be like this like scary moment where, and I felt it. I was like the title screen went up. It was like, oh, that was supposed to kind of be like the big like catch you in, right? Like to like
mhm.
get you. And for me, it was like immediately how everything was framed. I was like, uh oh, like I don't. That's not really like it's like kind of I'm kind of not confused, but like I'm trying to think and kind of be like, okay, why is he framing it like this? Why is I'm trying to kind of reconstruct it from that point and kind of, maybe not rationalize, but be like, okay, why is Oz Perkins making these decisions, right? And then you see Nicolas Cage, and I started immediately thinking of Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter in this Alice in Wonderland Tim Burton movies with like
Yeah.
the white makeup and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is an interesting design, right? But it didn't scare me or not really, maybe not scare me because I wasn't really like, please scare me from the jump, right? But I was like, I didn't really like give me kind of an energy or a like creepy nature that was like I'm like ready to go. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, interesting. But I was all like okay, like there's a lot of movie left, whatever. But it was an interesting like the title screen came up and I was like, oh, and maybe like if this like that part just kept happening, I would have been whatever. Like I wouldn't really thought of much about it. But when the title screen went up and they like did the credits like at the beginning, I was like, I feel like that was supposed to hit me stronger than it did, and it just kind of did it.
The movie really thinks that Nicolas Cage's, let me rephrase that Longlegs face is very scary. And I think that Longlegs's face, because it's like he has like the really botched plastic surgery,
Hmm.
and he wears like the powdered makeup or whatever, or like maybe it's bleached skin, like
Yeah.
it's it looks so silly. It looks so silly. So silly in a way where it's like, oh, like you look weird, dude, and I can't really take
Yeah.
you super seriously. Which, and
But
like, Oz
again,
Perkins, to his credit, I think that's like something that he intentionally was like, oh, this guy's like a
yes.
loser, like this guy's like
Hmm.
pathetic.
Yeah.
But then like the tone of the film makes it seem like, oh, but you're scared of him though. It's like you think that he looks
Yeah.
scary.
But and I like I you can call me out if this is just like dumb, but like I think maybe this is why I appreciate it more. But like for me, I'm like, I think those two things work together because like from my perspective, it's like in what Osgood Perkins said in that interview was that like one, he's like this like pathetic loser, and then he was like, I don't really like these guys in real life. Like I don't like the whole like true crime thing. I don't
Yeah,
like this idea that like these are like these people who are so far like separated, like kind of like put on a pedestal, like where like people obsess about them in a way where they're like almost not human, and in reality they typically are just like real loser, like pathetic nobodies.
sure.
You
And
have to be a loser to be a serial killer,
yeah,
is, like, kind of
sure.
his
And
thesis. Like,
and so for me, like when I watch a scary movie, like the closer I am to like thinking that this is something that can happen to me, the more I'm going to be scared. Like I get way more scared watching serial killer movies than I do watching like let's say a paranormal movie because I don't fucking believe in ghosts. So like that shit's not going to do anything to me. But like I watch a
Yeah.
serial killer and I'm like I could get hunted down by a serial killer. So when like your whole thing is like this is this pathetic loser guy who's like, yeah, it's silly, but it's like that's what happens in real life. Like weird pathetic loser guys murder people. So it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm scared that this weird pathetic loser could murder me. And I think it like I think that's why I think those two things work together. I'm like, yes, it's silly and like you want to laugh at him almost, but then it's like, yeah, that's also a guy who you believe could go murder a bunch of people. Like and not to mention like and I don't know, maybe this is just like in the back of my mind because of it, but like the book that I'm reading right now, that Dark Places book I told you guys about, like the
yeah.
whole like thing in that book is that the main like the protagonist's brother was arrested for killing her entire family. And at the time when he got arrested, it takes place in like the same era as Longlegs, where like this like big like satanic panic thing was going on,
Yeah.
and like they pretty much put him in jail because they were like, oh, that kid hangs out with like devil worshippers, so we believe that he murdered her family because like that's his whole thing. And then like as the book starts to unravel, you kind of like learn how he was like pulled into this crowd. And like so all of that, like as I'm like reading this book and then watching this movie, just like so totally clicked into my head where I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that like at this time these like kind of pathetic losers were like pulled into like this kind of like demonic, like it's like that's like what it was. Like it was like there's just like these losers who were like, yeah, we want to worship the devil and like do bad shit because of it. And like
Yeah.
it's real. Like I was like, that's just like a thing that was happening.
All of that, I think, as ideas, when you're kind of starting to think about creating this movie and like what kind of character you want to be at the evil corners of your film, right? I think are interesting. My the reason I was kind of struggling with this Nicolas Cage representation of Longlegs is that, and it's and according to Osperkins, it's like pretty similar to like what something that he had visualized when he was writing the script. But like, I'm having a hard time with it because it feels maybe a little try hard. You know, does that make sense? For lack of a better word, that's not a very
The
critical,
the the
intelligent way to put it.
performance or the character, like what in terms of
They kind of go hand in hand a little bit, which is why I'm having a hard time
okay.
saying like, oh, I don't like Nicolas Cage or I do like Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
because it's like there's like certain moments where I'm like, I just do not like this decision to include something like this in the movie. Where, for example, like like kind of, there's a scene where Longlegs is at a like a convenience store, and the like the girl behind the counter is like, "Dad, this fucking gross loser guy is here," and then Longlegs is like, obviously like that hurt his feelings, and then it cuts like smash cuts him in the car just fucking screaming, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. Oh, you know, I was like, my like, I saw the movie twice, and both times I was like, all right, to me, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just, again, that's a me thing, but I'm like, you know, like we're doing a lot right now. Like this is a lot. And then
Yeah.
towards the end, we're not okay. We are going to spoil the movie eventually, and if you haven't seen the movie,
I
like
already
you,
mentioned spoilers like 20 minutes ago.
I know.
So
I
we're
just want to reiterate that where it's like, listener, it's like you you don't want the movie spoiled for you if you are kind of interested in seeing it and you haven't seen it yet. So we're going to spoil
Yeah,
it,
just
but
skip to my game.
but the towards the end too, where it's I think it's this like the full circle flashback from when we get the rest of the scene at the
right.
beginning, right?
And you
Where it's like
understand like the yeah.
he's like starts singing, you
Mhm.
know? And I'm like, again, that was another moment where I was like, we're doing a lot. Like this is a
I
lot.
like the singing part. I get what you mean about the car thing, but
The
I think
happy
the singing
birthday singing, or what are we talking?
no, he just, like, starts singing, fuck, what it's like a rock song.
Yeah, it's a glam rock song. I think it's like the
Yeah.
guy
Okay.
T-Rex. It's probably a
Yeah,
T-Rex
T-Rex,
song.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Like, I like that because, like, that kinda goes hand in hand with what I was saying about, like, this kind of, like I don't know, like, I'm like for me, I'm like, this is, like, very clearly, like, kind of like these, like, punk losers who were obsessed with Satan and, like, took it a little
mhm.
bit too far,
Yeah.
and so, like,
Yeah.
the fact that he's, like,
Yes.
kind of, like, not adjusted to society, and then he just, like, starts kinda, like, talking to someone in song, and, like, not to mention the lyrics of what he's singing kind of have to do with, like, the actions of what he's doing, but, like, I'm just like, yeah, I like that this guy's, like, some fucking, like, loser, like, kind of, like, was probably, like, a fan of, like, punk rock and then, like, went down, like, a rabbit hole of, like, worshiping the devil and is now abducting or, like,
Yeah.
murdering children because of it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I get the
I
try hard part about the car, but the singing, I'm like, that fucking
I
rocks to me. I
think
was like, that's really sure.
I think the pathetic stuff would have worked more for me if the stuff we got later was like really, really scary. Because like the whole
Sure.
idea is like Nicolas Cage is like just a pawn, right? He's just a fucking
Yeah.
loser who's just like doing these things because like Satan wants him to, right? And then
Yeah.
like the actual like they like get really spoiler like the end of the movie, I was like, oh, okay. Like I like it, like it wraps it up kind of nicely, and you kind of get all the information. But I was like, oh, so he was kind of lame, and then like okay, I don't know. It was like it never really was. None of it ever really completely worked for me, but there's a lot of ideas that I like. And I think like when like I listen to Oz talk about it, like there are very interesting like ideas in place. I just don't really love any of the execution. Which is like it just kind of I don't know, it's a weird movie for me. And I don't know, I'd like to rewatch it, but I'm also like really not uh running to do that because I just really a lot of the kind of foundation of it in terms of like how Oz constructs his images. I'm really not a fan of. And like because this is our first. Have any of you seen another movie that he's
No.
made? No.
No.
Because I was doing like a little research. I was just like looking at how his other movies were shot, and like he has like a very distinct style in the way that he likes his images to look. He's always playing with aspect ratios, but he likes the kind of 4:3 kind of center frame, kind of character, like kind of where my head is, like in terms of like he likes the way he does. He's never really doing close-ups entirely because the camera's so wide, or like the character will be like kind of chest up. And there was one scene where like Nicolas Cage is like doing his crazy shit. I don't even know if it's exactly when he's smashing his head, but he's like it's that interrogation scene, right? And it's kind of supposed to be this close up of Nicolas Cage, but the
It's
lens
like
is so
yeah,
wide, and he's like
I do
at
remember,
the
yeah.
bottom of the, and it's so bizarrely framed because it's supposed to be like Nicolas Cage like looking directly at me, and maybe I'm just like this would be like giving him like crazy benefit of the doubt, but maybe it's like, oh, this is like him being like a loser because like he's not even like, I don't know. That's dumb. But like it's just the way that it's framed really kind of threw me off, and there was people kind of talking about like, oh, you're supposed to kind of like observe the image, like look around the image, and I
I just
it's
fundamentally disagree with that
like
idea.
it's
I
such
mean,
a
a lot of the scenes
lazy.
I'll give you guys that a lot of the scenes that those people are referring to don't have a lot going on. Like,
Well,
it's like that
Yeah, that's
like, it's
my
like
that's
so it's
yes.
like
it's
when
like
like that wide shot in the interrogation, it's like,
okay.
where else are you gonna look?
Yes,
it's
Like,
that's what I
it
oh my
I get what they
exactly.
mean.
yes.
There
No,
is a
I was
scene in the movie where they are doing that, like, where
yes,
those people are
but
wide. There is a scene
so
when, like, she's at her house and he, like, goes to drop off the letter, and there actually is
sure.
places where you wanna look around the
But I
screen
was like, so
because
from the beginning of the movie, I'm like, okay, why is he framing like this? What is the purpose for this? I'm looking around the screen, I'm looking for stuff, and it's like, oh, this is not like there's no intention behind this exact framing. This is just kind of the default for Oz Perkins. Like this is how he defaults his shots, and it's not like, oh, you're supposed to do, like, there's not a purpose there. It's like, oh, this is just how he defaults his shots, and it's like, okay, it doesn't really seem like much intention or purpose behind the.
This is my singular big problem with the movie, is the way that this movie is shot. And I thought that it was like, when I saw it the first time, I was like, oh, it looks like fine. It's like very like digital, kind of like red cameras, like whatever. But then seeing it a second time, I was locked the fuck in. I'm not tired anymore. I feel awake. I'm sitting in the fucking optimal seating. I am locked the fuck in, and I was really paying attention to the movie. I was thinking really hard about every frame. I was really considering this movie, because I was approaching it like it is a great movie, as many people have said that it is. And it's like there's so little intention between every single shot, and this is where I fundamentally disagree. It's like what Kevin was saying, like, and like Owen was saying, how a lot of people are like, no, he's framing it like this so that your eyes like have to like look around the screen and you're freaked out because it's like, oh, there could be anything in any corner. And I'm like, no, I fundamentally disagree with that, because, and maybe even that is like Osgood Perkins' idea. He fails though, in my opinion, because there is so little information conveyed in every single shot that it is impossible to miss something almost.
Yeah.
Like every shot of the film is either communicating one thing or two things. And because it's communicating so little, and those two things are almost always in the center of the frame. And then the few times that they're not, there's still like such little information that you almost instantly pick up on the other thing that he's communicating. It's like there's so little going on in each shot that it's like, it makes me feel like that they didn't plan anything out really. It kind of felt like, oh, it's like, here we have the set, the production team, not the production, the like the set production. They dressed everything, and now, oh, we go in with like the camera crew and like the DP. They were together. They're like, okay, we're gonna set the camera here. Micah Monroe's gonna stand here. We're gonna set the camera here. We're gonna have the doorway in the center. We're gonna go action. Micah Monroe walks into the doorway. She's in the center frame now. Oh, okay, we're gonna do a handheld shot. We're gonna follow behind Micah Monroe where she's in the center frame. Oh, okay, we're gonna have the her boss, the chief, and Micah Monroe talking, right? So they're going to be off. The waitress is going to be in the center of the frame, right? And then the waitress is going to walk away from center of frame. Then we're going to cut to Micah Monroe where she's in the middle of the frame. And it's like, that's like every shot is like that. Like every shot is communicated where it's like, okay, the subject is going to be in the middle, and it's like almost every single shot throughout the entire thing is like the subject is going to be in the middle, even like when, because there's a lot of glimpses where like the actual what's the, like the devil, like a classical depiction of Satan is like sparse throughout, right? There's like a lot of that stuff is like, oh, he's gonna be in the middle of the picture,
Like when he's
like
behind her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's a scene where it's like she's like at the library or something, and it's like, and then it cuts away to like outside, and then the horned Satan like pops up as like in the middle of the screen, and then there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like he makes it really hard to miss any of this stuff. It's
Yeah.
like he's really making sure you see like everything by simplifying the screen as much. And I think that maybe that just like works for a lot of people, but to me it feels like it's very mentally economical. Like it's like trying to put like not too much thought into each frame. And maybe that's me being really harsh or rude even to the filmmakers, but that's
I don't
just
think
how
it's
I saw it.
harsh. I mean, like from my perspective, like famously a guy who can still like ugly movies if I care. And like I don't know. I don't know if it's just like this specific subgenre, but like this, like I almost associate more with like TV stuff where I'm like this kind of like true crime, like serial killer unraveling stuff is like, I don't know if I'm really that interested in how it looks. Like I kind of just want information given to me the whole time. I'm just like, yeah, just give me things and have characters talk about the investigation and like let me like just like learn things and stuff like that. That's just kind of what I want out of a movie like this. So maybe I wasn't thinking about it that much. When I watched it a second time, I definitely was like, yeah, there's not much to look at. But I was like, I don't care. I don't know. Like from my perspective at least, I'm like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like so much of what I got out of it is like not that anyway. I think one of like the big things that I got out of it, not to like completely backtrack, but we kind of danced around the idea of spoilers and we haven't really spoiled like the big reveal with like
Yeah.
involving her mom or even talked about her mom at all.
Mhm.
which is like the moment where we find out that her mom was like working with Nicolas Cage's character, and she was the one who was getting the dolls into these houses so that they can then work their little doll magic and murder people.
And even that, like, he was living with her, like,
Yeah,
he
and that
was
he was
just her
living in her basement.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so like mom evil, got that part. I like for me, like the mom stuff when and I don't know if this might be different. This is kind of like going back to what I said about like more or less Nicolas Cage, where I'm like, I'm not exactly sure if I want him more or less, because like even from your perspective, I was curious if like you guys like thought that the movie got better after he died or like worse after he died. Because like the mom stuff for me in the third act was what made it like a way better movie to me, where I
Uh,
was like, I like this even more than I thought I did while watching the first two-thirds of the
Me
movie.
too.
Um,
I think the narrative really starts after Nicolas Cage dies. Um,
yeah,
and like it's tough for me because I think there's interesting like ideas. I think the idea of the mom being like, "Hey, like I am gonna kill all these people so that my daughter is safe," and
Mhm.
like
yeah,
the kind of this really like the entire like kind of plot line with the mom like kind of doing this for all these years. Like I really thought that was interesting. I think that like kind of end sequence doesn't really work for me and kind of I was like, "Oh, okay." But I do think like again like that whole kind of narrative element was like the first time during the movie where I was like, "Oh, this is like interesting." Whereas like with the
yeah,
Nicolas Cage part, I was like, "Okay, what are they gonna do with this guy?" And then like, "Oh, he just killed himself." Okay. But like with the actual mom, I was like, that was the first kind of bit of narrative information. Was like, oh, this is interesting.
yeah,
I think the ending, I don't like it very much just because it is like, oh, the real killer was Satan the whole time. And I'm like, that is so
Yeah,
silly. That's
I don't
so
even think it's
silly.
well, like I guess that's true, but like I don't know. I once again, that's like for me, that's like a time period thing where I'm like, this is very clearly like trying to like echo a specific time period where like this was a bigger thing than it is now. But like for me, I just thought it was more like the mother-daughter stuff than it is any Satan stuff, where it's like
sure.
not just what Owen said, which like I think is an interesting idea on its own, like this idea that like the mom is like willing to like
Mhm.
actually go and do all these murders just to like protect her daughter. But like even more so is that I think it's interesting because it goes against her own interests. Like, regardless of what you
Right.
think about the FBI, like her character is, you know, like this person who is like at the core of her job, supposed to like protect people. Like her thing is like she's like catching killers. Like she is like stopping people from murdering more families. Like that is like the core of what she does. And so when the mom, like even when the mom knows that like her daughter does not want this shit to happen, like her daughter is like begging her to stop, it is like your parents will still do say, and in like the case of religion, like believe and continue to believe awful shit while telling themselves that they think that they're doing something for their children without even like listening to their children who are telling them to stop doing that thing. Like she wants her mom to stop because like that is in her best interest as like
Yeah,
who she is as a person, and her mom will keep doing it anyway because she thinks she's doing it for her daughter, which like to me like that made the movie so much more
yeah.
interesting. Like before I knew any of that, I was like, this is a cool scary movie that I really like and I enjoy like going along for the ride. But like once I knew that, I was like, oh, this is actually a completely different movie than I thought it was, and
Mhm.
that's way more interesting.
Yeah, that's the stuff like that for me. This is like that's the best stuff of the movie, and it's like that's why like it's like tough because like I just wish everything else around it worked for me. Where it's like that is not gonna make me the movie for me, but it's like if it was that was like the icing on the cake, this would have been like one of my favorite movies of the year. It's I just struggle with like so much of like the foundation of the film where it's like I this movie like I could if I really liked to have this movie, I would have been like, oh, I'm gonna watch all of Oscar Perkins movies. This makes me like and just like looking at some of the other movies like just pieces. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna like anything this guy makes, and
Yeah.
at least from before Longlegs, like unless he like radically changes how he makes movies, which I don't expect him to. I just yeah, I don't think Oz Perkins is a director for me.
Yeah, that's fair. But I don't know. I think I think I think like narratively, it's a much more interesting movie than I thought it was going to be. Maybe not so much as scary of a movie as I thought I was going to be, but like to me, that was a bigger surprise, and like I got more out of that. Like
Sure.
that, the fact that it was not just a movie that like scared me, but like a movie that I thought was actually pretty interesting. Especially because like there's like I don't know, there's little things where it's like I'm probably just reaching, like I'm probably just like giving him more credit than he deserves, but I think it's there. Where like Doug mentioned at the beginning, like Cure, which is a way better movie. Like we're not going to have that conversation, but and also Cure just actually looks good. Big
Well, no,
difference.
that like
But like,
when I the thing about Cure that because I did allude to this in a private text group where I said it was like Cure didn't watching Cure beforehand didn't do any favors for it, but like specifically what I meant was that Cure is so like every image in Cure is so loaded with information. You
yeah,
know,
I
it's
mean
like
that's what I meant. Like Cure is just a
yeah,
way better looking movie, but like,
like there's so
but
much mise
it
en scene. Like
tries to do something that Cure also does, which like nobody can do as good as Kyoto or specifically Kiyoshi Kurosawa does. Like nobody could do this as well. But I don't think that the movie fails at doing it, at least for me, which was like there are just like a lot of moments in the movie where everything feels empty in the same way that like the world of like Cure or another Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie might feel empty, where it's like nothing is going on around the characters. And like when your whole thing is like you're being chased by a serial killer and like you feel like this like the sense of dread is that like nobody can help you. Like it's like almost like inescapable where like every interaction you watch and every time like somebody gets murdered, you're just like, yeah, that person has no other choice because nobody is going to be there to help them. Like it's like
kind of
you
yeah,
know that nobody else exists in this world around them, and like if this killer wants to kill you, you're fucked because like nobody else is there.
kind of like Silent Hill. You know,
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah.
uh,
And like I no, but like I really liked that. Like I thought it actually did that successfully. Like I was like there was moments where like, you know, like in that neighborhood, like there's actually like two neighborhoods that they go to where I'm like this is the only house in the neighborhood. Like there's like other houses around and nobody exists in them. Like it's just like you're by
Yeah.
yourself. And I thought
It
that like kind of like hopelessness was like really interesting to me. I was like, it's never going to be as good as Cure, which just like makes you feel that immediately and throughout. Like it's just like he just knows how to
it's
do
an unfair
that.
comparison to even draw.
Yeah,
Like yeah,
but I
um,
think the movie is doing it, and I think it's doing it pretty well. Like I was like, I felt like it was pretty hopeless. Like I felt like this world was pretty empty, and that like made me feel like shit. With like ultimately that it was like nobody could actually help these people.
do you uh do you guys have any feelings about how the characters speak in this film? Because it's something that I
I
had a little bit of a
Yeah, it
problem
seemed like you had a
struggle
problem
with.
with it. I really like there's like some like deadpan stuff that's like really fucking funny. There's like a line in the movie where I was like, this is the funniest shit in the world. And the first time I saw the movie, my theater really laughed. And then like
Mhm.
the second time I watched the movie, I don't think anybody caught it. But like there's a line at the end of the movie where her like higher up, like the head of the FBI guy, whatever, like she's at his house and he's just talking to his wife and he's like, no, you're gonna I'll be
Yeah,
back. You're gonna stay in the kitchen. And I was like, that's really fucking funny.
yeah.
Like I love stuff like that, but I don't know if that's what you're referring to or if you're referring to just like how they interact with each other.
Yeah, I just had like I feels I it's so bizarre. I've been having a really hard time still trying to figure out what it is because again, I'm not any kind of critic, but specifically I'm not like a literary critic, you know. So I don't know. But like the way the characters speak and like the kind of words that they say, it invokes like a different kind, like a less serious art form. When I
it
first
reminded
watched
me
it, I
of
was like,
TV. I was like,
yeah.
this is TV.
Well, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, like everybody's talking like they're in a fucking anime. um,
I think that's why I don't know.
like
I like that
But
because
I
that's what it made me
also
think of, like True Detective season one. That's what I referenced at first, where I was like, this feels kind of like True Detective a little bit,
I
which you know,
so like going on to like the kind of not only the kind of dialogue, but what Kevin was saying about like there, it feels like there's like no one exists in this world but like the people that who are necessary for the movie. It like that was like very video gamey, like the whole like
yeah,
yeah.
very a video game kind of thing in terms of like. So I
like
was like,
Silent
oh,
Hill.
I
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So that was like those were also parts that I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm just it really like it, there was it got that was like another part of it that was like, oh, I kind of like that part, but it just really again fails in other ways that kind of ruin those pieces for me. But like those are like it has really strong elements that I would love to be like. It's like the movie the cake isn't there, right? Like it's like I there's like those are like little like fucking cherries. And like I like cherries,
Mhm.
but when the cake is moldy, it's like I'm not gonna eat, I'm not gonna eat all of it, It's like so like that part, like I really like those parts. And I like maybe not the dialogue isn't my favorite, but I think like it works in that sort of like a video game style movie.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't all come together for me. But I didn't
I
like
don't know.
it was, like, something I noticed for sure. I did, like, notice the dialogue, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird and interesting," but it was also interesting, and I was like, "Okay, what are they doing with this? What are they trying to say with this?" But it didn't really ruin the movie for me, but I think, I don't know if it's the dialogue, but I'm not crazy about Micah Monroe, and I know a lot of people are. I I've seen It Follows once, and I didn't love it, and I'm kind of as these kind of you know when certain things keep happening, I'm like, okay, maybe I just don't like Micah Monroe. And I'm not like I don't think she's like the worst or anything. I'm just like I don't know. I'm not sure if like she's like my favorite lead actress for a horror movie. Maybe that's what I'll say. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people love her, but I'm not sure if she's entirely working for me
I
here.
just
I don't know if that's the dialogue or just her as an actress.
I feel like a lot of her dialogue is like kind of I don't know. I think it's like pretty purposefully. I
No,
like
yeah, I'm not saying it's
the video
not.
gamey stuff is like I get it because it's like very like procedural, which is what I like. Like it's like kind of like really matter of fact at times because you're doing like this kind of like unraveling like serial killer procedural thing, like detective thing. But then even like a lot of just the way she talks is just like that she's not like a well-adjusted person when it comes to like socializing or like interacting with other people, which like makes sense when you're creating this world that's like kind of empty and like her entire character is like essentially it feels like everything that has happened throughout the movie, like whether you know it or not, is like being controlled by Nicolas Cage's character. Like he has
Yeah.
kind of like set this all up because he's had this like doll of her that you find out at the end. So like you realize that like all of these things are kind of falling into place the way that he wants them to.
Hmm.
And when like like when she's had this, I guess since she was a kid, like this traumatic like thing happened to her as a kid that like she doesn't even remember because like she's now just been like controlled by this like grand plan that is going on, then like I think it would make sense that as time passes and like as she gets older and like everything is kind of going that way, that like she doesn't know how to talk to people and that like
Yeah,
maybe
no,
they don't know how to talk to her.
it makes
um
sense.
like I don't know,
I
I don't think I had a problem with the dialogue because it all just kind of like fit into place for me where I was like, especially once the movie's over and then you think about it, I'm just like, yeah, it all just kind of is the way it's supposed to be. Like I don't really know how else they would talk that would make
Mhm.
sense, but it feels like logical in my head. I'm like, yeah, that I don't know.
It's very
It might be a simple
quippy.
explanation,
That's
but
yeah, but they're so quippy. I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't
I
know.
Um,
I struggle to care for Micah Monroe, not like as an actress, as a like the character that she's
The
playing.
character.
And
Yeah,
that's a
they don't
big
do a
thing.
ton with it.
Is it's like if
well, she
Nicholas,
has like issues,
yeah,
whether
Yeah.
it's like autism or like just like this kind of like childhood trauma
yeah,
that's been
mhm.
internalized or something. She's
Yeah.
and
But
it's like it's kind of hammed up. A lot of that's another a lot of stuff in this movie is really hammed up. Like
if
Sure.
Nicolas Cage is lame and I'm supposed to think he's a loser,
mhm.
but I also don't care what happens to Micah Monroe's character. I'm like I don't know. Like it's like I don't really care what happens. I think is like a big issue. It's like I'm just like
Yeah.
okay, whatever happens happens, and
No, I
then
get it. You just think that when serial killers murder people en masse, that it's just fine because you don't know those people
but it's
personally.
so
And
like it's so hammed up. Like Doug says that it's
no,
like
I know.
I don't. I guess I don't buy it, but it's like I'm not really like ask. That's not really why I go into horror movies. Be like, oh, like make me like think it's real. But I'm just
Yeah.
like, I just don't feel anything. And it's like that's
Mhm.
kind of like a
Yeah.
big issue. It's like horror movies kind of inherently are attempting, and that's like to make you feel
I think
something.
I think I feel something for the characters in a horror movie as soon as I believe the horror. So, like, the fact that I was, like, scared made me feel something
Yeah,
for the
sure,
character,
exactly.
because as soon as I think there's, like, a serial killer that's, like, capable of really hurting people, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't wanna see
Yeah,
the people on screen get hurt by that guy."
and that I never
So
really felt anything.
I think the movie's scary.
Oh, you
Do you
do?
guys think the movie's scary?
Yeah,
We haven't really
yeah.
attacked this directly. I think the movie's scary, but I think it is not scary in the same way a lot of reactions might lead you to believe I think it's scary. I think it's scary in the sense that when a jump scare happens, like I'm like locked in, right? And then when a jump scare happens, it scares the shit out of me. I'm like,
There's
fuck,
a there's a
shit.
very, like, distinct moment in the movie. There's a moment where she goes and looks at, like, the flashback photos and
Yes.
looks at a picture that gets
Yeah.
taken, and, like, you
Yeah.
see the picture get taken, and there's a bunch of flashes on the screen, and when that happened, I
Like I
shit my
pee a little.
pants
Yeah.
and was scared for the rest of the movie. Like, as soon as that happened, I there was not a single moment for the rest of the movie that I felt, like, any sense of comfort. Like, I was still thinking
Okay.
about that when I got to the end of the
Different from me.
movie.
So like those moments scare me, right? Like the jumps and stuff, like the jump scares, they scare me. They're like good jump scares, and I think it's another thing. It's not that easy to make a jump scare actually scary. Because
Yeah.
a lot of like somebody that's bad at it, the jump scares will be just annoying. This is why James Wan is part of why James Wan is a very good filmmaker. But um, but yeah, like the jump scares are good. I think the movie's scary. There's moments where I'm like uncomfortable, that like get me. I pee a little, and then but it's
Like,
not like
actually, or, like, do you like, is that
but, I wear a diaper to the movies, Kevin, for these
okay.
kind of reasons. But then it's not like, oh, before the movie's even over, I'm like not scared anymore, you know? It's like,
Okay,
but
so
a
it
lot of
doesn't
people kind of
last.
describe these ideas of long legs as like, oh man, you watch the movie and then like you can't go out at night. It's like you lose sleep.
Okay,
It's like it really
Can I
sticks
say
with you.
something,
And I'm like,
though?
why?
I said this to my friend yesterday when I was
Oh
playing
God.
basketball. I watched the movie the first night. So I saw it on Thursday, and then I saw it again on Friday. I watched it on Thursday night, and I came home after, and I was thinking about it a lot, but I was like, "Yeah, love the movie." Went to bed totally normal, like, nothing, like, it was just, like, normal. I was like, "Fine." And then I watched it a second time on Friday night, and I went to bed that night after watching it for the second time, and I got in bed. I was in a Discord call with, I think Owen was there, and, like, a number of other people were there, and then, like, I left the Discord, and I was just, like, by myself in bed, and then, like, there's, like, a little noise in my room. There's, like, a little creaking, and I was like, "Fuck," and I couldn't fall asleep for, like, half an hour. I put my flashlight on, and I was scared that when I put my phone flashlight on, something was gonna be, like, standing in front of me. I was like, "Ugh," I didn't like that. So I thought about it eventually at some point. I slept fine,
I slept
but
like a baby.
it did do something to me.
Yeah, I that's interesting. It really yeah, I really because also like during that final scene when it's like the mom and like they're at the birthday party and like it's all going down and Michael Monroe has to save the day. To me, it's like all tension has been deflated by that point. To
Yeah.
me, at least, it's been especially when like the guy's like, "Oh, he is possessed by the devil." It's like, okay, I get it now.
I
I
didn't
see the movie how the movie's gonna end 5 minutes from now. It's fine. Tension's gone for me, and I'm like, I'm not scared anymore. It's like it is what it is. Everybody could die, and it's like, oh, everybody's gonna die. I don't know. I don't know. I just was not scared at all at that point.
I guess it's like for me, like I think there's something like inherent about like the character that like other people I think other people find out what is happening, like what the movie does in terms of like, oh, the mom is like doing all this stuff and blah blah blah, and then like immediately their response is like, well, now I'm no longer scared of the Nicolas Cage character because like he just like orchestrates this stuff, like he's not even actually like doing the killing. Whereas for me, I think there is like something like actually frightening about the type of person that is, regardless of like what they actually do, where it's like you see the scene where he like sneaks into her house to leave the letter. So for me, it's like, even if this guy is not going to murder me himself, the
Mhm.
fact that like I could wake up and see that guy, even if he's just like sneaking around and like leaves, like that's scary. Like the fact that like he's just like willing to like sit outside your house and like be creepy, I'm like, I don't like that. So it's like
Sure,
like that, like there's something about him that makes me uncomfortable in a way that like regardless of what he's actually doing, like I still wouldn't want him around. Like, does that mean like where it's like I don't care if he's
Yeah,
not even
no, that
doing
makes
the
sense.
killing. I'm like I don't want him there. Like I don't think that that's a guy I'd want to be near, even if he's not going to kill me. I'm like
Hot take, I don't wanna be around him either.
no, okay, sure, but no, but you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah,
I don't like it's like regardless of, like, what he's responsible for, like, it's like there's something about him where I'm like, yeah, if I was alone in a room with him, I'd still think that guy's gonna murder me, even if he's not doing the murdering. Like, I still think he's capable of it because, like, that's what he gives off. Like, it's like that's, like, what it is to me. So I don't know. I was pretty scared, and I stayed scared kind of after, but
I remember there being a moment that I was like, this. There was a movie that was that moment that made me really scary, but I don't know what it was. I just know I was
made you really
scared.
scary.
Yeah, it made me really scared. I
yeah.
like started like howling at people in the theater. But I that there was like one moment. I don't really, yeah, I don't really know what it was. But then like the rest of the movie, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's probably likely that it's the same moment Doug and I are talking about with the photo because that was really
I
not.
remember that
That
scene.
was, like,
I
out
don't.
of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it was like,
don't
Yeah,
know.
Jesus.
I don't
that
know
one
what it
really did
was.
not sit well with me.
I don't.
And there's just like there's kind of like parts of the world. I don't know. Maybe it's because I feel like it's I don't know. Maybe I'm just like referencing so many things that I have seen that you guys haven't that are like fresh in my mind that are like making me like buy into a lot of this where it's like that book I just told you about plus I also literally just like a few months ago rewatched the first season of True Detective which is also about devil worshippers that kill people. So like
Oh, I didn't
to
know that.
so, like,
I
to
didn't
me, that's, like, a pretty big yeah, like, the first season of True Detective is kind of like that's what I meant, it's, like, it's very similar because it's about, like, what is happening. There's, like, a supernatural element, not so much in True Detective, but, like, they are doing a satanic kind of, like, these people worship the devil, and then they're, like, doing these gruesome murders because of it, and so, like, so much of, like, the imagery in the movie, whether it actually, like, looks good on screen or not, is, like, stuff that makes me uncomfortable because I've kind of like had this in my head for a while now. Like kind of like when they go to that like barn and they like, you know what I mean? Like they go to the barn and they like find the little doll buried in the thing. I was like, this is so very much a scene out of the first season of True Detective. Like I'm like this feels like a place that's like in the same world, like this world
okay.
where they're like in an isolated place where people worship the devil and kind of like do weird shit because of it. And like I could really feel that. Like I could like buy into that and be like I don't like that. So I don't know. Maybe that's why some of that stuff had more of an effect on me because I've just been thinking about devil worship a lot recently. And I guess like from your perspective, it's just kind of like stupid. Like it's just like a little tacky and like dumb that like that's what it ultimately ends up being. But like,
In the way that it's done, I think it's kinda tacky, but it's
Yeah,
like, again, it's whatever, like
yeah,
I
sure.
think it's an interesting place to go. I just, for me, it never goes far in any direction. It feels like it kind of just. I don't think it picks a lane strong enough necessarily, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, cause I during the end of the movie, I was like, okay, like I don't know, and I don't know.
There
It's,
is a bit less answered for you than most of these movies answer. Like a
but I'm
lot
not
of like
really.
movies like this answer things for you that this movie kind of chooses
I feel
not
like it
to.
answers a good amount of. I'm really not asking for answers necessarily. I'm just like, I just don't think it hits me hard any direction. I think it's like I'm getting like pieces of this. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but
Right.
never like really goes kind of sicko.
Yeah, I just meant like
Owen
in the sense that what were you gonna say, Doug?
Owen would disagree, but I
Okay.
think that the best kind of ending for something like this is the film Hereditary. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, where
Uh-huh.
at the end of Hereditary, spoiler for Hereditary if you haven't seen it, um crazy that's fucked up if you haven't seen it. But at the end of Hereditary, it's a similar thing where it's a little different, but it's like the same idea where it's like, oh, it was just the devil the whole time. And then, but also at the end of Hereditary, it's like, oh, it's the devil the whole time, and the devil fucking won.
You know,
Here it is, the devil won. Like,
I think that would have been a more interesting way to end the movie. There would have been something. It just like it felt like for me watching the movie was like, oh, like it ended. Like I knew it was like we're getting close to the end, but it was like
mhm.
okay, like shoots some like the shoots the mom. Those guys are dead. Like it's over. Okay, like it just
But like is shooting your own mom not the devil winning?
In a way,
sure,
but that's not like,
oh
yeah.
okay.
No, but you're saying like it could go on after, whereas like in this movie it doesn't. Like it's like concrete,
And
kind
I
of
don't
like
know if
nothing
it's
else bad
it
could
was just like
happen.
I guess, and this might be a part of like the hype versus reality thing, but it was like, oh, like the ending was just not like it didn't like like blow me away. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And that
I
was
don't
just
know.
me being like this is it, this is the third act end sequence thing, and then I was like, oh, okay, you know,
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the ending, but maybe I don't know. I just like I buy all this stuff. Like I'm like I like this stuff. And I think it like I don't know. I think it would be like unfair to say that, like, nothing else could happen after because it's like because that's what I meant where, like, it doesn't give you answers where there's, like it does in the sense that, like, yeah, Nicolas Cage is dead. Yeah, now the mom is dead, so, like, these 2 people working together, like, there's no real loose ends. That girl at the hospital dies as well, so, like, no there's not, like, really anything that could, like, permit
No, and
this
it's like they
evil.
save the day. Yeah, she saves the
Yeah,
day.
but,
Yeah, yeah,
like but then there's just, like, things that they don't explain where it's like, I don't know what that means for them after, like, it's like, there's, like,
sure,
like, there's like, for example, they never really like, obviously, there's, like, some kind of, like, magical, like, thing to it, but, like, they don't actually explain, like, how the dolls work, like, the thing that's in the dolls that connects it to the humans,
the devil
and
is in the brain
sure,
because
yeah, I
he puts the thing up to the brain, and then she
right,
sees. This is another
but
thing annoyed me: the flashes of the snakes.
yeah, that was kind of that's one of the only things I didn't
Talk
like. I
about
don't
really
really
obvious
know.
symbolism.
Yeah, but But, like but the other girls that were connected to dolls all
Mhm.
die, and she doesn't.
Yeah,
So,
I don't
like,
know.
that like, what does
Well,
that
no, because
mean, you know?
it's
But I
no.
know they shoot the doll, so, like, I
Well,
guess that
but it's that's the whole thing where like the mom. It was like the mom had to cut the deal so that she wouldn't die. That's like
right,
what. That's why the mom was working for him. Was that so to protect her?
right.
Um, what's your guys' favorite image in the movie?
Don't do this.
What? I'm so serious. I'll tell you mine right now.
Sure.
Mine is the doll. It's a image from the trailer,
it
but it's
explodes.
the no no. It's the doll. But it's before you even know it's a doll in the movie. But it's the doll with the drape with like the black cloak on her, and it's just like
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
doll's eyes peeking through
Right,
the.
yeah.
That's a really cool image. That is a
Yeah,
really
it's really
cool
scary too.
fucking scary image. Yeah, it's really awesome.
Um, I like that. I like the stuff from the opening, like the car and the, like, out the window, and then also, like, her own house, like the, like, really white house that she grew up in.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. I like the barn stuff probably, like a lot of the stuff that happens there. But there's not like I don't know, like
Notice
yeah.
how nothing, none of it has to do with Nicolas Cage.
Well, why would I mean
Uh, You
like
look scary. I don't know. That's the whole thing.
but like it's like that's not like my favorite thing to look at in the movie. I don't know. Like I don't want to, why would it have I don't know. That's like the last thing I would think of is like Nicholas Cage, I guess, but like he's scary. It's not like my favorite image. I mean, the thing that you're mentioning is the scariest, like probably like actual single image in the movie is that doll,
It's
as
very
opposed to
unsettling.
like, yeah, like that's like way more unset. But like he's unsettling in like in like a different way. I don't know. It's harder to
Mhm.
compare. I guess like this. I guess like the image of him where like you just see again, it's the opening, but like you just see the bottom of his face is probably
I
equally as frightening as the doll thing. Where I'm like, I didn't like looking at that.
I like that part too.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I I thought he was a little bit frightening when he's just kind of like standing there at the bus stop, like waiting to be caught, and like you see his
I was
kind of
like, what
like,
is this little freak doing? I was like, what is this guy?
yeah, I don't know. I
and
think
it's
like all
so
those moments just,
wide,
yeah,
No,
sure,
yeah, the camera's
but
so wide.
so wide.
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, same thing with like the interrogation thing is probably the weirdest one, where it's like I don't really understand why that wouldn't be closer because like he even like does this whole thing, like he like kind of like makes it like really theatrical, except you're watching it from like 20 feet away, and I'm just like, it is a little bit strange. Like it's like I don't really know why we need to see it from this far away, but I guess it's cool.
And then and then like her boss comes in and is like mad at her because he killed himself. And I'm
Yeah, that
like,
was also strange because it's
what
like
was she supposed to do?
I didn't understand the logic of that because it's like they upstairs, they told her that he's downstairs. So I
Mhm.
imagine the conversation that they had as like a unit was like, I'm gonna go in there and get information out of him. So
Yeah.
then if everybody knew that she was gonna go in there and get information out of him, was there not like somebody waiting right outside the door? Like it's like so clearly like it shows her in the hallway and nobody else is around before she goes in. So she's just like allowed into the room to interrogate him without any like other FBI agents or like guards or whatever. And so, like, you know what I mean? Like, you would think that they're just like waiting there watching this. This is a pretty significant interrogation that she's doing. Like, you would think that there's people waiting there so that if he, I don't know, bashes his face
Oh my
into a
god.
table, they just like run in and stop him.
We haven't even talked about Bill Clinton.
Sure,
Fucking
but
Bill
like, that's
Clinton.
we don't. That's not really something to talk about,
It's
though. I
important.
mean, it's
It's so important.
okay.
It's
Explain to
so
me the
important that
importance
it's
of
in the
Bill
middle of the
Clinton.
screen for multiple shots.
It's
You guys
so
no, but like
fucking
when
huge.
you guys said that shit, and then I watched the movie the second time, and I was like, okay, you guys are kind of being babies about this. I was like, it's not.
It's
You
just
guys made it.
silly. It doesn't
You
it's
guys
just
made it seem
silly.
like it
It's so
takes up like
silly.
fucking 3/4 of the frame, dude. It's literally just like it's
No,
just there. Like it's just the room. The room just has a picture of Bill
I
Clinton, and you guys
just
made it seem like he takes up the whole frame. I'm like, dude, it's just on the wall. Like you
And
guys
then
are just
Ronald
being weird
Reagan
about
shows
it.
up just on the wall later. It's so random. It's like
no,
it's
but
so
It's
like
an
such a
FBI
it's a
office.
I
decision.
know, I
It's a
know.
decision that was made,
Yeah,
and
the
it's
decision is that the FBI has pictures of the president in their
no,
room.
but
That's
the
just like what
framing, it's
happens.
all the framing because there's
No, but
never
you
a
talked
shot
about it like it was
there's
like
never a shot where like they're showing like the guy where like it's like Bill Clinton is fully there. Like it's not like there's a close up or like there's a shot where like Bill like in when we're in
no.
that room, Bill Clinton is getting as much screen time as the other guy. Like it's
But
ridiculous.
Also, the
the way
room is
you
like so
talked about it,
dark, and that Bill Clinton picture is like lit, like it's like the
sure,
brightest
but
thing in
like
the
you, but
room.
like Owen's talking about it, he's like Owen's like it's right there. It's literally just
It's
like the
right there.
same thing as like the poster on Owen's door. Like that's how much room it's taking up. And you guys
No.
are making it seem
Which
like
one?
it's like we're just like any of I don't like it's just a fucking picture. Like it's like you guys are
No, but
making
it
it
was
seem
so funny,
like
and that's all I was thinking about because I was like, why?
I just like it's like the least I get that it's like purposefully in the frame, but it is like the least questionable thing that ever shows up in the movie, and you guys are
Because
making
it's
it seem
easy.
like it's
It's
like
such a
such an
silly
It
eyesore.
device to
comes back.
use, like to put us in a place and time, to
No,
put us in
well,
like
But
it's
it's
like
not
time.
even
Yeah,
about but it's not even about the place and time for me. Like it's like because the place and time is already the time period that's set up by what the story is. Like the like I was
but
saying,
they
like the
want you to
satanic
like they
panic
want
stuff.
you to really be
But
known.
it's like sure, they want you to know that Bill Clinton is president, whatever. But it it's just the most like trivial thing that you guys are pointing to. Like it's like
It's so funny.
of course somebody who runs a division of the FBI has a picture of the president in his room. Everybody does. Like every
it's just
FBI office has a picture of
silly.
the president. Like you guys are making it seem like it was like a creative choice for them to put it there, whereas like
It is a
Okay,
creative choice to frame
it
it like that.
was.
It
it
is a
was sure it was like as but the creative choice is that they know that that's what an FBI office looks like. There's
no,
no
no, 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 no,
creativity
no, no,
So
involved.
your
They
so
just
your
no.
they
argument is like
want you to
that is
know.
not silly. Like Bill Clinton in that scene, or it's in two scenes. That it's not silly at all.
It's a little bit silly, sure.
Okay, well,
but
hey,
it's
hey,
but it's
But
it's
like but
less
you guys are
that
alone
making
win.
it seem you
it's
guys are
less
making
that
it
it's
seem like it's the
behind
most
him. It's
prominent
more that
thing.
it's how it's framed because it's framed and it's there. Like it's there. It's noticeable. It's there, and it's not like a negative thing. It's just I think it's funny. I think it's funny how they framed that shot
But
and
I
kept
don't
him.
think
And
it's
it's all you see is that guy and Bill Clinton. That's all you get from that shot. And it's hilarious.
but
It's
there's a shot where it is her standing in front of like the board explaining something to him, and it's
Uh-huh.
him standing right behind her, and then it's
Mhm.
Bill Clinton to the left of him. And
Yeah.
Yes.
you're saying it like it's like but like you guys just described how his entire like how all he does is like wide shots where everything fits in the frame, and then he does a wide shot where everything fits in the frame, and you guys are like, oh, it's Bill Clinton. It's like, no, he's just like capturing the two people on screen
And
like
no,
he would have
three.
anyway.
Three people.
Three people, sure.
Bill
But
Clinton.
like
He's
he's but
blocking
like
for
there's no
Bill Clinton. That's
but
funny.
they made the room. They made this room that Bill Clinton is a part of because that's how the room is supposed to look. And then it's a wide shot of the two characters talking and
Yes.
Bill
And
Clinton.
you looking
But like
at
he
you're
was
looking
gonna
at
do
that image and he's looking at that image and he's like you can't be like, oh, this is like not funny. Like,
But it was going to be a wide shot of them regardless because you just explained
so
how
you
that's
got
all he
so
does.
move Bill.
Why would you move Bill if you just established that he's a fucking poster on the wall the whole time? You don't just like
No,
move it around the room. Like it's
no,
like
like
he doesn't
if
doesn't fucking
you only
rotate on a
shoot a shot,
360-degree axis.
if you only shoot one way and you're looking at that image and it's not a perfect image, then like you have to adjust the room. But like that's why you don't like you have to like be a creative like image maker.
You just said that he's not.
Yes, that's why it's funny. That's why it's funny.
Okay. Oh
Because
my god.
his
Okay.
settings allowed there to be a giant Bill Clinton thing going on. And it was
I,
hilarious.
sure.
And that's like my
Okay.
biggest takeaway from the movie. Is that
Okay.
there's a
All
giant
right.
Bill
Bill
Clinton.
Clinton's in the movie, guys.
Hilarious.
Um,
Shout out Billy
People
C.
think so. People think so.
Doug shouting out Billy C and talking about Reagan 2 episodes ago. Who's next? Who's next? Doug, were you in Pennsylvania yesterday?
Oh, yo, calm down. Yo, 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 yo,
It
chill,
took him
chill, chill,
so
chill.
long
He
to
was
figure
like,
out what
why
I
would
was
I be in
talking about.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah, chill, 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 chill. No.
Okay. That's all my long legs notes. If you guys don't have anything else you want to add about the movie, before we move on to Owen's little long legs themed game, is there anything else you guys want to say about Mr. Longlegs, Mr. Downstairs?
I listen. I'm kind of harsh on things sometimes. I don't think the movie's like that bad, and maybe that's because that's how I come across. Like I hate the movie. I
Yeah.
don't hate the movie. I really don't. I was
The
just
thing
trying. I
that
was just
pissed me off was
considering
that
it.
the thing that pissed me off was that you tweeted about the movie as if liking it is like the same thing as liking like fucking Saltburn, dude. Like that's how your tweet read, was like, if you like this, like you are easily impressed the way that
No,
like
it's just
people
like
who
liking
like.
Hereditary.
That's not the same thing because Doug likes Hereditary.
Well,
I don't
because
know
Hereditary
why.
is like a
I
smart
don't really get
movie
it. I
made
just
Sure,
by like
but that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. But
a really
your
good
tweet
filmmaker.
read like you were making
Uh,
fun of people who liked Saltburn and not a movie that is just like totally
people
acceptable
like
and like
Saltburn.
just doesn't look that good.
listen here. My point with that tweet was just this: a lot of people not even just like I'm not even talking about like people that we know, just like in general, like people like like the poll quotes and like people that got to see it early, um, and like smaller time critics and stuff, that were talking about like comparing it to Silence of the Lambs and calling it like the scariest movie of the year and stuff like that. I'm just like, maybe you guys are pretty easily impressed. That's all. That's all I was saying. Which I don't think that's crazy. I
Thing
don't
you're
think it's
hinting
that
at
crazy.
isn't even that crazy. If this is the scariest movie you've seen this year, that's like not that crazy to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that's like a normal poll quote to be like, this is the scariest movie. You're comparing it to one other movie, maybe. Like, other than the first Omen, what even competition does it have?
Immaculate's pretty scary.
It's not. Come on. This movie's
Immaculate's
scarier than
scarier.
Immaculate. No, it's not. That's what I mean. It's
Um,
like you're like talking about it as if it's like it's like these are just normal things. Like
but
calling
also,
Longlegs the
also,
scariest movie of the year halfway through the year is not that crazy of a thing to say. We're not even in October yet, where most
Twitter
horror movies come out.
Twitter is not serious. That's the other thing. It's like
These
Twitter is
bitches
not.
are not serious.
Yeah, Twitter is not a
Sure,
serious place for discussion. You can't.
sure, but I'm just saying you talked about the movie like it was on the same level as like Saltburn, when in reality it's just a normal movie that you think looks bad. Like it's not like there's
No,
nothing
but
like
that's
below
like
the surface that it's like evil the way that like a dumb movie like
No, 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 no.
is.
My thing, I
It's
was
not
like,
that
I
dumb of
was
a movie.
approaching the movie like it was a great film, and I'm like, this is certainly not a great film. That was my only thing. That was my only thing. Because like people were like, this is a great film. I was like, okay, I'm gonna approach it like it's a great film. It is not that. That's all that happened.
Okay.
I'll say it's an interesting like thing where it's like Oz Perkins seemingly does not want to be a normal contemporary horror director. He does not want to like he wants something unique, iconic, and like original. And there's
Mhm.
some level of like it feels like he is just like okay, so this is how like normal it goes normally. I'm going to go left, and it almost feels like he went left so many times. He's just back at like the beginning, and it's like it's a fine, just like kind of dare I say generic horror movie. I just don't think it's like does anything crazy like original that like I was like blown away. I think it's whatever. I don't think it's images are constructed well. I think it's like just pretty normal movie.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's
Okay.
it's worse than the first Omen.
Yes.
That's my review.
Okay, well, we
Which
don't
is
have to be
fine.
comparing those two.
No,
But
but yeah, you know what I mean. It's like it's an unfair comparison, and because they're different. But
yeah. Okay. I like the movie. We'll leave it at that.
that's fine. I kind of like the movie.
I don't. Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
there we go. There we go. We're
tell us
all
about this
across the
game you
spectrum.
have
Okay. It's
prepared.
more like a Nicolas Cage game, but I
Oh
think
god.
Nicolas Cage is so fun, like with games. So like I had to like really get like gritty in like Letterbox, and it's funny because
Josh,
what? Oh,
Giddy.
not what I said. But um you guys haven't seen that many Nicolas
Guys.
Cage's
I
movies.
haven't seen that many, so
You guys
whatever
haven't.
the game is you have in
So
mind, I'm not
it's
prepared for.
there is elements to the game. So the game is I will give you a character's name, right, from a
Okay.
movie that Nicolas Cage has played, and then you will have to guess the movie. And the reason why I had you guys get paper and pens is because I want you both to guess. So like I don't want it to be like a blurt out fast thing. I want you. I'll say the thing and like you'll write it down and then you'll show it, but also you're gonna say like what it is because it's a podcast and we talk. So
Yes.
you're going to like I'm going to say it, and then you're like, all right, I'm done, and then you're gonna show it and be like, this is the movie I have. And so how I arranged it is that there are a section of movies that you guys have both seen. And there are a bunch that you haven't seen, and then there's some that one of you has seen and the other hasn't. So there's an equal amount of movies that one of you has seen. Then so like there's like 3 movies that Kevin's seen, there's 3 movies that Doug has seen, there's like 3 movies that both seen, and then I added like some that neither of you had seen, but it's still like the movies exist, so you can guess the movie, right? So that's like kind of where the money is going to be made, is if you can maybe steal one or get one that you just haven't seen, but they're like still like popular movies that Nicolas Cage is in, so it's like it's possible to guess. So I'm just gonna that's how the game's gonna work. Okay. So the first name is Ronnie Camerari, and then so you will just write the movie, and then whenever you guys are ready, and I'm gonna probably butcher some of these names, so if you need like a spelling or anything like that, just let
I think
me
I know
know.
this one. I'm pretty sure I know this one, but I could be totally wrong about it.
I know this one.
Okay, you guys are good?
I'm good.
Yeah, I have mine ready.
All right.
I have mine ready.
Just one guy, one go, and then the other go.
Okay. I
Kevin?
put Moonstruck.
I also put Moonstruck. We did a podcast
did a
episode
podcast.
about this
Okay,
movie.
so I wanted to start with one that you both have seen. I also wanted to shout out podcast number 21 on Looks Like a Movie. We also
Damn, 21 is crazy. That is
that
way
was a
older
long
than I thought
time
it
ago.
was.
We also did a game on that episode, which why I also want to start with it was a Nicolas Cage co-star game that
That is
Kevin
true.
did.
That I orchestrated. That's
Exactly.
right.
So that was the one I wanted to start with because of all those.
I was thinking about that when you said that it was going to be a Nicolas Cage.
So
I was like, we've already done Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it's a little different, but you guys liked the game I did last time, so I wanted to kind of step up a little and do another game here. So 1-1 there. But yeah, there's a lot. So Rob Feld is going to be the next one. Rob Feld or Feld, Feld.
Oh, I know this one too.
Oh, there's absolutely no way I get this one. Rob Feld.
I'm ready.
But you're not allowed to tell us if this is like one of them that Doug has seen or I have seen or both have seen.
I think it's probably better if
okay.
Yeah, I just don't say. But that is the thing. I said there's both. There's Doug, and then there's Kevin, and then there's none. But yeah, there's I don't know. I think this is an interesting little because there's so many Nicolas Cage movies, and it was very interesting because you guys haven't seen a lot, but there's like so many like kind of iconic ones that even like in like
there's like big ones I haven't seen, so that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah,
but I think it's gonna be.
I only know this one because I was looking at Nicolas Cage's page the other day, and this is a movie we've been talking about.
Well, that's why I didn't want to like tell you what the game was, because you just look at the like things. It's pretty easy to like kind of do it.
I don't think it's this movie, but I don't have a good answer, so I'm just gonna put this movie.
I gave kind of a big hint when I said that. It's Pig.
I don't know what you said. Oh, is it Pig? I put adaptation.
Okay.
Is it Pig?
So it is Pig. It is Pig.
Okay.
Yeah. I have seen Pig, but I
wanted to start both there. Okay, next one is
Pig was actually referenced this episode.
Yes.
We talked about A Quiet Place Day 1.
Yeah. Sailor Ripley is the next one.
Sailor
Oh,
Ripley? This is either I'm either dumb or, this isn't
I cannot
yeah.
say.
Doug's gonna
I'm
kick my ass in this game. This is the movie.
There's
unfortunately.
an even amount of things.
No, I know, but, like, that doesn't mean I don't because it's, like, hard for me to think of, like, because 'cause I'm thinking of movies that I've seen, but then I'm like, what would be the movies I haven't seen that,
Yeah.
like, would fall? Because I don't know what that
I will say this. I've definitely seen this movie, Kevin. I have no idea if you have or not.
I don't think I have. Unless there's only one movie I'm thinking this could be, and if it is, then I haven't watched it in a very long time and I wouldn't remember the name.
I'm ready to go though.
I'm
I
gonna
knew
put
it.
a dumb movie that it's not, but
Okay.
it seems like this movie would have a ridiculous name for a character, I guess. So okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Actually,
Yep.
Kevin, go first.
Oh,
I put Face Off. I haven't seen it.
oh no, it's Wild at Heart,
It
right?
is Wild at Heart.
I have not seen
That
Wild
Yeah,
at
was yeah,
Heart.
that was one
Okay.
of the Doug ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my
I've
Okay.
not
favorite
seen that
movies.
one.
Yeah, yep. Okay. The next one is Balthazar Blake. uh, I want to do
Balthazar.
this again. Also,
Balthazar?
we did like a little devil emoji in the comments last time. If you've gotten an hour 40 in, drop like the cheese emoji, like the little block of cheese.
Balthazar seems like so specific
Balthazar
to
Blake.
this is like I don't think I've seen this movie either. Unless it's
I think I don't know. I put a guess down though, but I don't know.
okay, he just did a Doug movie, so I'm gonna try to guess a movie that I've seen that I don't think Doug has, even though there's absolutely no way that this is the character's name in that movie. I think he probably has a way different name, but I'm gonna put it down. Oh fuck. Okay.
All right, we
Long
ready?
title.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
ready.
I'm wrong, but
Uh,
can Doug go first this time?
yeah, it doesn't matter. Doug, go.
Is it Mandy?
Okay, Kevin. I'm not.
As
I'll say
man?
what. What?
Okay. I put Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
It was The Sorcerer's Apprentice. This was one that
Okay.
both of you didn't have logged, but I was like, this is such a funny name that, like, maybe you'd get it. But
That's a crazy
I
movie.
literally was sitting there and I was like, there's no way that's the name of the character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but I thought like maybe it was
yeah,
like short or
no,
something,
no,
like
no.
you were doing like a full name and in the movie they call
Yeah,
him
yeah,
like a
yeah.
shorter name or
Yeah,
something.
that's one of the ones that none of you've seen, but I was like, this is a fun one. Okay, then the next one is The Janitor.
The Janitor?
His character's name
Janitor?
is just The Janitor.
Oh
What?
gosh. I don't know if I've seen this one unless it's like I'm also running out of Nicolas Cage movies in my head.
The
Could this be?
Janitor.
God, I really don't like that there's a possibility that these are movies I haven't seen because that makes it so much harder to think about.
Yeah.
The
'Cause that so
Janitor.
far I've only guessed movies that I've actually no, I guess Face Off, but
Mhm.
what would
The
he be?
Janitor.
Also,
I
I
don't
would
know.
like if you haven't if you guessed it, definitely keep that movie in mind. Like if it
Yeah, no, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, I'm
because
gonna
if not,
re-guess
yeah,
movies
yeah, yeah.
I
probably.
have a guess. It
I
is I
don't.
haven't
Yeah,
seen this movie though.
I have a bad guess. I don't think
Okay.
I've only had bad guesses so far. I don't think I'm gonna get a single point
No,
actually.
you have a
Now that I think
point.
about it.
You got the
Oh,
first
do I?
one. The first
Oh, right,
Moonstruck.
Moonstruck. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I
Okay.
am just gonna guess that maybe they don't say the name of the character in this movie. I put Kick-Ass.
Okay.
I put Willy's Wonderland.
It is Willy's Wonderland.
I don't
That's
even know what that
crazy.
is, dude.
It was the one that you guys didn't see, but I was like, it's like a guess like that's a popular movie. It's a guessable. I think the
Yeah,
janitor is like an interesting name.
yeah, I haven't seen that movie, but I'm aware of it. I heard it's bad.
Yeah, no, I thought that was like one of those like you guys haven't like
It's like a
there's so
yeah,
many like Nicolas Cage movies. I was like, dude, you would never know this name of this movie. Like I'm not gonna put this one in.
yeah.
But Willy's Wonderland is like
Yeah.
a notable one.
That's
All right.
like a Five Nights at Freddy's like rip-off
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing,
okay.
right?
All
Yeah.
right. Rick Santoro.
Oh,
Oh, I definitely know this one. I
that's
think.
Oh, okay, don't say it, Doug.
Yeah, don't say the
wait.
name out loud.
Oh, I don't know.
I think I know this one. If I actually get this wrong, I'm gonna be a little bit upset because okay.
Yeah.
I think I got my
Uh,
answer.
I
I'll
don't
wait
have
for
a
Doug.
wait. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Is it? Wait, hold on. God, I'm mad. This is gonna be wrong. This is gonna be wrong.
All right,
But
it's 1-4,
Yeah,
Doug right now.
Jesus Christ.
So
Okay, I
it'd be
got no clue. Okay, this would be
okay,
good for me,
Doug.
but Doug
What
got
do you
this
say?
wrong.
is it Fast Times at Richmond High?
And then
No, it
Kevin.
is Snake Eyes.
It is Snake Eyes. This was
Oh,
a
I
Kevin
just
one.
I just watched that one recently, which is why I
Yeah,
was like, if I get this one wrong, that's
this is
fucked up.
one that yeah, it's very funny because it's like for me, I'm like I know who's seen it and hasn't, so it's very
And
obvious.
they also say his name in that movie like
Yeah,
400
and when
times.
Kevin kind of
it's like such an
Kevin's
iconic
light
name.
bulb clicked and Doug had no idea, which just makes sense
Yeah.
because he hasn't seen the movie. Okay, the next name is 2-4. Kevin has 2 now. Damon McCready.
Damon McCready. Oh wow. Okay. I think I'm gonna do
I know what this one is, just because. Yeah. Anyways,
I'm thinking this has to be one that I haven't watched. I do.
Yeah,
What's another Nicolas Cage movie that I
it's
haven't
funny
watched?
because doing this is like we've done a lot of podcasts that involve Nicolas Cage. Like Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage
yeah,
has found
he's like
his
an
way.
omnipresent guy.
He just has found his way in movies, like on our podcast, like
Um,
many times.
I'm gonna guess a movie I haven't seen. I think I'm gonna be wrong, but I think he's in this movie. I actually don't know if he's in this movie, but I could have sworn he was in it.
If you guess a movie that doesn't
I
have
might.
Nicolas Cage.
No, well, like I just can't think of
Yeah,
Nicolas Cage.
no,
I
no,
listen,
I know.
listen.
There's definitely like there's gonna be some where it's like you're just not gonna have a guess.
I'm gonna be wrong on this
Yeah,
one, but
yeah.
fuck
It's
it.
totally cool to be like, yeah, I just don't have one.
Okay, you go, Kevin.
I put Raising Arizona. Is he in that movie?
He's the lead
Yes, he
character
is
in
in
that
that
movie.
movie.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Kick-Ass.
Yeah, it's Kick-Ass.
Oh fuck! I guessed Kick-Ass already. Fuck.
It's Kick-Ass. It's Kick-Ass.
Oh.
Well, it was funny because
fuck.
they're like he also has like his superhero name. I was like, I can't put that in. Like that's obviously gonna give it away.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is Smokey.
Oh,
Fuck! Is this a Doug movie? No, that sounds like a Kevin movie. I'm just being dumb.
okay, I'm ready.
He got it so fast. I don't like that.
Well, you'll see
Is
why
this-
I got it so fast in a second.
Is this There's no way it's this movie. No, I know his name in that movie, so it can't be that one. Fuck. Wait.
Yeah.
I started writing it down and then I was like, that's actually the dumbest fucking guess in the world. I'm gonna
Smokey.
do this. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it, Kevin? It
Yep.
seems like
Okay.
Doug got it. So what do you have, Kevin?
I put it again. Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
And then Doug.
Is it not Raising Arizona? What Kevin just said?
It's Rumblefish.
Oh,
It's Rumblefish. We
shit.
did a podcast on this one too, episode 50. You
No, of
both have
course
seen
it's
this movie.
Rumblefish.
It is Rumblefish.
Of course, it's Rumblefish. I feel so dumb.
wait. I gotta rip off a new post-it note. I ran out of space
Okay.
on this
The
one.
next one is Red Miller.
Oh, I think I know
Miller.
this one.
Red Miller. It was weird. I was doing them and I was like, I was running on a string. I was just writing them down. I was like, whether it's Rick Santoro or Rob Field or Ronnie, it's like a lot of R's. His name would always have the R. It would start with R a bunch of times. Which was just
No,
weird
no,
Red Miller.
There's no way this is.
So, I don't know.
yeah. No, there's totally times where it's like you guys just won't know, and then that's.
I have a guess though.
That's
I
the
think it's a
thing. That is
decent
the
guess.
kind of the game is one in these like weird ones where it's like you just kind of shove something out and be like, "Yep,
You're.
Okay, I think I got a guess, but it's not
Alright.
gonna be
Doug,
right.
what do you
Fuck,
got?
I knew this one.
Is it National Treasure?
And then Kevin.
I'm wrong. I put Leaving Las Vegas.
It is Mandy. I don't have you guys not seen. I've seen you guys haven't seen Mandy. That was one of the ones that you guys haven't seen, but again, popular movie.
I guessed it earlier.
Definitely a guessable one. The
Yeah.
next name is Frank Pierce.
Frank Pierce. Is that not?
Frank Pierce.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Frank Pierce. I'm interested because there's definitely gonna be movies like where like people watching have seen them and you guys haven't, and there are people like screaming at you guys right now.
I mean, I also just like don't remember characters'
the names are
names
tough.
unless they're like
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah.
prominent. Like, unless it's like one of my favorite movies that I watch over and
No,
over
for sure.
again. I don't think this is correct, but I have a
Mhm.
guess.
Hold
I
on.
feel like his name. I feel
It's
like his name in the
definitely
movie I'm guessing is a lot more obvious, but I'm just gonna guess
okay.
it
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I have a
It is
guess.
Uh,
Face
Trevor,
Off.
and then Kevin.
I put National Treasure.
It is Bringing Out the Dead, which is
I
another
haven't
one that
seen
you guys
that.
haven't
Yeah.
Oh,
seen. But I was like, it's really
Martin
popular, so
Scorsese,
people who
of
are watching
course.
this have probably seen it, so they get to like yell at the screen. This is like them getting to yell at the screen.
Of course.
Yeah.
I need to watch that. That's
And no,
that's
that's
an
another
I
one. It's
feel
like
like
embarrassing
there's
the
been a
fact,
lot
yeah,
of movies that we haven't
the
seen.
fact
that's
that
an embarrassing
the fact
one.
that we all haven't seen it. I was like, this is also embarrassing that we haven't seen it, so I wanted to bring that
Yeah,
up because
no,
like,
that's good, good, good.
I should have
Yeah,
seen this movie by
Yeah.
now.
that's embarrassing.
Ben Sanderson.
Ben Sanderson.
Ben Sanderson.
Okay. I think I get a point here. I think I get a point here.
Ben Sanderson.
Oh, I hope I'm not wrong on this one. Fuck. Okay. Oh, I'm actually between two movies. Wait.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, I thought I knew it, and now there's another movie that it could
Uh-oh.
be. Oh God. No, 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 no,
Okay, I
no.
have a guess, but I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with my first guess, but
Okay.
if it's the other movie, I'm gonna be so mad. First guess, I'm guessing again, leaving Las Vegas this time.
Mhm.
I guessed adaptation because I'm
It
like, that's like a white guy name.
it is Leaving Las Vegas. This is one that
Thank God,
Kevin
because
has seen, and
adaptation was the other movie I thought it might be.
Oh
So if
shit.
Doug got that right, I would have been so mad.
all right. Then so that is okay. 3 to 5. Kevin is creeping up.
How many
Joe
more do we have? Oh shit.
Ransom. Joe Ransom.
Joe Ransom.
Oh, ransom.
Joe
Fuck.
Ransom.
Could this be? No. It'd be really funny if you just put like Longlegs in here.
Well, there's like some of them where it's like these are so obvious. Where I was like, I just
Yeah.
can't.
So you just skip them. Yeah.
Yeah, or like,
Um.
I don't know. I try to like make it like a little challenging, but I also like I wanted to keep like a good it was more of a balance of like I didn't want to make like the ones where Doug like really obvious and then like the like so I wanted to make like it to be try to be as
I'm almost
balanced as
positive.
possible.
Yeah, similar to my other guesses, I'm almost positive there's no way it's this movie, but I just have to like I feel like I should just start repeating movies because there's a better chance that it'll be one of them eventually instead of just like but I keep picking new ones and I
Well,
feel like it's
I
lowering
mean,
my
he's been in
odds.
a lot of movies.
Yeah, I know, but I've only seen like
All right, what
do
do you
you
got?
know how many we've seen? Did you look at our letterbox stats? I feel like I've only seen
So
like
what I tried to
12 of
do is I
them,
tried to
honestly.
go on like the stats page and like have Nicolas Cage like appear and just click on him, but you guys haven't seen like a lot of Nicolas Cage movies. So I would just like I was going through every Nicolas Cage movie ever, and I would be like, has Kevin or Doug seen this or neither? And then I would just
Yeah.
kind of get them all. I got them all that like you either seen or one of you seen, and then I kind of
Yeah.
arranged a list of movies that I felt worked. All right,
Yeah,
what do you
I
got?
think I've seen at most 10 to 15. But I guessed a movie I haven't seen, Dream Scenario.
Oh, that's a good guess. I guessed a movie I haven't seen, Color of the Space or Color of Space, whatever
So
it's called.
this is one that you guys both haven't seen, but I thought was really possible to guess because Joe Ransom is his name in Joe.
What the fuck is Joe?
I've never heard of the
Joe.
movie Joe.
Okay, that I
Uh,
think you guys would recognize it if you looked it on Letterboxd. It's not like it's pretty. It's one of his more popular movies. But yeah, that
Joe?
is what that is. All right, the next one is Charlie Bodell.
I have seen
Charlie
this movie, and I don't know what it is, but I'm like so confident it's a movie I've
Charlie
seen.
Bodell.
I know that name.
Charlie Bodell.
I know that one. Uh, fuck. It's not. I'm gonna be wrong.
Charlie Bodell.
Oh,
Joe. I'm gonna look at Joe. I know it's directed by someone. It's a David
Joe.
Gordon Green movie. Joe.
Oh, the goat.
Charlie
Yeah,
Bodell.
yeah.
Um,
It's pretty popular, but
Charlie
I thought
Bodell.
that was like that was one that was like you guys haven't seen it,
Is
but like
that like?
it was
yeah. I
No, it can't be that. I think I'm running out of. I think in my head I'm running out of movies that I've seen. I think I've named every Nicolas Cage movie I've seen,
yeah.
so it might be
I'm
time for a repeat. Or
I'm probably it's this yeah this might
I know this name though.
I'll say
this
you
is this
both
has
know
to be
this
a
name.
movie
I'll
I've
say you both
seen.
know this name.
Don't say that, oh, because I know what it is. I don't. I like.
I'll say that.
Charlie Bodell.
Charlie Bodell.
I don't think maybe it's not a movie I've seen. Well, actually, you just said it
I
is.
just said it is.
No, I know, but like, fuck, I don't know what it is. Okay, I'm gonna guess something stupid. I don't think this is. There's no way this is it. Yo, don't fucking do that shit to me. Let me fucking. I'm sorry, I don't have just a fucking mental log of every Nicolas Cage movie in my head on
Well, no,
command.
this one I just got because you'll see in a second why
Okay,
I got
can
it.
Doug guess first? Because my guess is stupid.
No, you guess first.
No, my guess is dumb. Doug,
No,
go
go.
first.
There you
No,
go.
go
You do it.
first. Go
No,
first.
go
No, please go
first.
first. Please. I guess Ghost Rider.
No, that's so dumb. It's Peggy Sue Got
It
Married.
is Peggy Sue Got
Oh, I
Married.
knew I've
We
seen.
also did a podcast episode on this. Number
I wasn't
63.
there.
You weren't there, but you did watch the movie
I did watch the
afterwards.
movie.
So
Yeah.
Crazy Charlie Bodell. That's one of the ones where it's
Oh,
like for me, like that name really sticks with me
I
because
need a new
Crazy
post-it note
Charlie.
again. I'm burning through post-it notes right now, dude. I'm gonna be out of them. But how many more movies do we got?
We're getting to the tail end here.
Okay.
It's still possible for the Kevin comeback though. Vincent
Oh,
Dwyer.
Vincent Dwyer.
Vincent Dwyer.
Vincent
That can't
Dwyer.
possibly. That also sounds like a movie I've seen, but I'm very much running out of movies to name. I think I have to start doing repeats. Otherwise, I'm
Or
gonna.
just name movies that you might know of that you haven't seen.
No, sure, yeah, but I just feel like.
But there are some movies that you have named that are still coming up. So, or that you kind of.
Okay,
you
I'm
guys
gonna
could
guess.
collectively
I'm gonna
talk
do.
about.
I'm gonna do a repeat.
Okay.
Fuck, I shouldn't have thrown away my post-it notes in the trash so I could like. Wait, let me go fish in my trash really quick while Doug gets his gas.
Yeah.
I have crumpled post-it notes that I need to unravel so that I could use them for recycled guesses.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh, they kind of smell like trash now.
No.
What?
Good thing
What do
this
you
is
have
an
in there?
audio only podcast.
I can't. Okay, fuck. Oh, and I crumpled them up so bad. I took the sticky part of the post-it note and like taped it to the back and like crumpled it, so
Yeah.
I can't even like unravel them properly. Doug, do you have a guess? I'm good to guess whenever you're
Yeah, I have a
ready.
guess. I have a guess.
Okay.
All right, I have mine as well. I'm
Yeah.
gonna re-guess dream scenario.
I'm gonna guess Left Behind.
It is the Cotton Club, which is another. It's a Francis Ford Coppola movie that we haven't seen, but I
Okay.
want to throw out the Francis.
I didn't even know he was in that.
I'm going to be honest. There's been at least 3 or 4 movies named that I didn't even know existed. That being one of them.
You didn't know that movie
So, like-
existed?
No.
What? We had a friend
That's
that went
not
to a
my
Francis Ford
fault.
Coppola
That's not my fault.
Q&A
You
of
should
the
know that
Cotton
movie
Club.
existed.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
All right. Tom Wells.
Tom.
Oh, I know this one.
Okay. Tom Wells.
Yeah.
I'm
Tom
looking at
Wells.
my. What could it be?
Did you write like all the names you know, or the movies you know?
No,
Or
I'm
did-
just looking at my recycled post-it notes of guesses I've already made to see if there's something that I could guess
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
I'll give you a hint, Kevin. I don't think it's one you've guessed.
I honestly genuinely don't. I'm looking at the names. I don't think he's in any. I don't think that name is in any of the movies that I guessed already.
Yeah, Tom
which
Wells.
puts me in a bad spot. Is it like? No, because like you just keep. I feel like I'm just getting Nicolas Cage movies that I don't even know about now. Could it be?
I don't
like
know if you know about this one.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
This might. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't spend too much time on this one.
Could I just not guess?
Yeah, don't. You can totally
I'm
not guess.
I'm
here.
I don't have a guess.
Is
Doug, you
it?
go.
I'll look like a jackass if I get this wrong. Is it 8mm?
It is 8mm. This is a Doug one.
Yeah.
Tom Wells is 8mm.
Okay.
All right. Couple. We're getting close. Castor Troy.
Castor Troy.
Castor Troy. Castor
Dude,
Troy.
I don't like this game. What the fuck?
Castor Troy.
What What's that?
Wait.
He's probably got a dumb name in this movie, actually. So I doubt it's this movie, but I'll just fucking guess it
A
because
lot of these names are so funny.
this is one of the only
Okay.
original guesses I have left.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yep.
I put fucking Con Air.
I put Face Off. So we're kind
is-
of on the same wavelength
It
there.
is Face Off.
Okay,
It is Face
that
Off.
makes sense actually.
You
'cause
guys
cat-
haven't seen
okay.
Face Off.
I've
No, I
seen Face
haven't.
Off. I just don't have it locked.
Okay.
I have not.
Yeah.
Nor have I seen Con Air.
Face
so-
Off
I've seen
is
Con
really
Air.
great.
Con Air's good.
All right, Dr. Stanley Goodspeed.
What the fuck?
Oh wait, I think I know what this is.
Dr.
What
Stanley
movie does he play a
Goodspeed.
Oh, wait a second. Is it? I can't guess a movie a third time, can I?
Well, okay, we're on the same wavelength here.
I'll do it, I guess.
Okay,
It's a dream scenario.
It is The Rock, the Michael Bay
Oh,
movie.
Jesus
Oh, fuck.
Christ.
Brent
I don't
Ryan.
like this
Brent
game.
Ryan.
Brent Ryan, dude. Now you're just like making shit up. Are there any like fake ones? Did you just like make up movies or?
These are all real.
These are all real.
Oh God,
These
what's
are
like a
all
random ass fucking? Oh, is he in?
Oh, I have a guess.
Brent
I'm just like
Ryan.
looking at these and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I don't like this. Could he?
This is a real head
This is a
pick.
real movie. Oh, okay.
I don't know what the movie is.
I'm
I
not
was a
guessing.
guess. This is a real
I'm
guess, though.
skipping. I'm skipping
What
again.
up, Doug? What's up?
Is it Drive Angry, starring Amber Heard?
It is not. It is Mom and Dad.
Oh, I
The
could have guessed that one.
what is that? What is it?
The Taylor and
No, but I think it's
what's
only
his-
Taylor. But I
Swift?
forget his.
no, Brian Taylor.
Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor. It's the
Yeah.
the Crank guys.
Yeah, the
Oh, the Crank guys.
All right, we got two more.
Yeah.
Brad's Bud.
I know this one. Oh my God, I actually could get a point. Fuck.
Brad's Bud.
Oh, if I get this wrong.
I don't know.
I'm good.
Um,
I'm good to go.
hold on.
I'm good. Finally, a movie that I actually could know. Jeez, dude. I had like 5 movies in a row that are movies I've never even heard of.
Okay, I have a guess.
Yep.
Doug's gonna get it right.
what's
Of
Doug?
course, the one time I get it.
World Trade Center.
Oh, thank God. It's Fast Times at Ridgemont
It
High.
is Fast Times. It is Fast Times. Kevin's got a
Yeah,
point.
fuck yeah.
All right.
Finally, some real
This is-
cinema.
This is all for, I guess, the spread, but the last one is Cameron Poe.
Oh, I know this one.
Is this a fucking like animated movie?
I'm ready.
Is this what is that animated movie? Okay. Is this The Crew?
Oh, it's Con Air, right?
It's Con Air.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck
there you go.
off.
All right. Doug has won the Nicolas Cage.
Is he even in The Crew?
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, he's
I
the
didn't
dad.
put Crudes because his name is like something crude. it's like, but yeah, that was 20. There was 20 possible points. Doug wins 9-4. I think that was pretty
Jeez.
good.
Good
Okay.
game. I just like don't
was
know
good.
anything about Nicolas
That
Cage
was
character
the big money is like there was 3. Doug's was Wild at Heart, the 8mm in Con Air, and then you had Fast Times, Leaving Las Vegas, and Snake Eyes, and then there was like
all really good movies.
There was
actually, the
one.
ones
I
that-
think you got all of yours.
I did, yeah.
Yes,
I
you
think.
did. But there was ones that both of you had seen. That some of them just Doug got, and then there was Doug got.
I mean,
Doug
honestly,
got some ones that he hadn't seen, which really kind of put him in the.
3 of my 4 points being movies I've seen makes me feel
Yeah,
good.
that- I mean,
because
you-
it means I pay attention to the ones I watch at the very least.
There you go. Well, I think you got 3 of the ones you've seen, and then you got Moonstruck, which is one you've also seen.
Yeah, but there was a lot of those that I've seen. What was the one? Oh, we did like a podcast on Peggy Sue. I didn't even recognize it. But I knew that I knew the name, which is annoying.
Yes,
That's, even more
you really
frustrating.
you had like the light bulb moment. You just
Yeah.
guessed
Oh,
wrong.
that sucks. Because I've seen it recently too. Anyway, what can you do? Okay, we can move on to some news. Obviously, the usual
News.
like, comment, and subscribe. Rate the
It's
episode on
news
Spotify and
time.
Apple Podcasts, and follow us on all our extra little social platforms, Twitter and whatnot, TikTok, where we have clips on TikTok.
We have
Look at
clips.
that. We have clips for you to watch. If you
Maybe
don't want to listen to the full
even a
episode.
game clip.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
Whatever Longlegs brings us.
As far as news goes, I'll start with the TV news up front so that we could just get it out of the way.
Hand it to me.
Euphoria season 3 is official, set to begin production in January of 2025, and the main cast is all returning. We've talked about this on the podcast before, this
Yeah.
idea that it would never actually happen. It is happening in
Me and
January of
Kevin made
2025.
promises about Euphoria season 3.
If it gets made, we will
If you
do
guys made
podcast
what?
episodes on it. And
Yeah.
now
No. Yeah. If it
we
gets
have to,
made, we will cover
yeah,
it.
and it's being made now. It's going into production. So
Yeah.
so I guess we will be doing podcasts on Euphoria season 3, which is fine because I make TikToks during Euphoria anyway. So might as well do
Yeah.
a whole podcast episode on it. What?
What? What? What did you say?
You make TikToks during it.
No, not like while I'm
Yeah.
watching it. Like as it's
Granted,
it's airing.
if it's going into
dancing while it's on
they
in
said
the
they're going
background.
into production at the beginning of 2025.
Yeah.
We might not get it until 2026, and who even knows
Yeah,
what the situation's
I
going to
feel
be
like
then.
TV is a little bit quicker turnaround.
we're still in America by
usually.
then.
I guess like bigger shows, like it's weird now. It seems like TV has such long turnarounds, and it used to be like so immediate. Like they used to just like make TV and then it would come out right away, and like
Yeah.
you would just like whatever show you were watching just had a new season every year. And now they have shows like Stranger Things and whatever where you're just waiting like 4 years between seasons. And same thing with like Euphoria, I guess in this case.
Yeah.
Like whatever just happened to fucking just pounding them out, dude? Just like one after the other. Give us
They
all
just
the
don't
TV.
pound them out like they used to.
They really
Yeah.
don't. Like actually, there's like a whole
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see it at some point, several years after season 2 came out. It'll be interesting. I don't like love the idea of the show existing without Angus Cloud. I mean, my favorite storyline during the first 2 seasons of the show, and especially toward the end there, was the storyline between him and Maud Apatow's character, this kind of like romance that was blossoming in the show. And now that romance obviously won't have a storyline. Not to mention we won't be able to see Angus Cloud on screen, which just sucks, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I like it's gonna suck, and in a fun way, but it's gonna suck. We'll be there. We'll be making podcasts about it, I guess. Speaking of things that are gonna suck even more than Euphoria season 3, Emerald Fennell has revealed that her next film will be an adaptation of Wuthering Heights, the classic piece of literature written by Emily Bronte. This is kind of like a nightmare situation, kind of, is like that her next movie would be an adaptation of like a really significant piece of writing.
The worst person you fucking have ever met in your life is like so pumped up. Not even excited. They're like fucking creaming their trousers for this thing.
This is their Barbie,
Joker.
I guess. This is
their
their
Joker.
Barbenheimer.
If you like any actor in the ages from 20 to 30, please pray tonight that they do not get cast in this movie. If you want to see anything good happen to them, that
oh god, I'm just thinking about
when someone major like Jacob Elordi level is cast in this movie, the internet will lose its shit.
But the thing is like Jacob Elordi managed to come out of Saltburn unscathed, but like Barry Keoghan is just dead to us now. Like we don't even want to see that guy on screen, dude.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen if she casts like fuck? I don't know. Who would she cast?
Don't even put it in there.
I know. I don't want to say names.
What if like Sydney Sweeney's in this movie or something?
Oh my god. She would. I mean, it could be one of those Euphoria cast members. It could be one of those big Euphoria cast members.
What if it's Hunter Schafer?
I know. It's possible. It's definitely possible. I mean, she had a big Euphoria cast member in her last movie. You gotta.
What if it's Hunter Schafer's in this movie, bro?
Maud Apatow. She got Maud Apatow.
No, I like Maud Apatow.
That's all she gets.
Oh no, she's gonna get. You gotta keep in mind, she's gonna get a bigger name than whatever was in
she's
Saltburn.
getting Scarlett Johansson.
It's like she could fucking get like Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, whoever she wants to be in the movie is going to.
Zendaya could do it. Oh no, you know what? Tom Holland might be in this movie.
Good.
Actually, yeah. Now that we can put we can wrap that one up.
We can finally dig the ditch. Or I mean, we're putting the dirt on the top.
Yeah.
Just gonna have Tom.
Um,
I don't care anymore.
yeah, not much to say about that one. Just like a collective sadness that overcame the podcast that we had to address. Um, Speaking of collective sadness, damn, these are really like topical. I kind of organized these perfectly. Kevin Costner's Horizon 2 has been
Oh,
pulled from
Jesus
its August
Christ.
theatrical release date following Part One's underperformance at the box office. Uh,
We need
RIP
to
in the
I
chat.
do.
saw it
RIP
twice.
in the
I saw it
YouTube
twice. It's not my
comments.
fault.
Yeah, we we
I
we
brought two
all
people to the
we
theater.
brought friends and family to the movie.
Yeah.
We did a podcast episode about it the same week that Kinds of Kindness came out. We talked about Horizon instead. And you know what? It wasn't enough
It
for
really,
Mr.
yeah, it's
Costner.
fucked up. Fucked up. God, it's actually really annoying. It's so annoying because it seemed like Kevin Costner knew that it wasn't going to do super well,
It
but he
seemed
was
Yeah.
like
like, "No,
someone
it's fine."
else.
Yeah, it
Someone
was
else
like
to
something
do it.
like
And about like a
somebody
month, I think
higher up than
maybe a
him.
month and a week from today, like when this podcast comes out, about a month later, we would have had the Horizon Part 2 episode coming out.
Yeah.
And
No, it's
now that
tough.
is not happening. Who knows what's going to happen?
It'll find its
Only
success.
only
It'll do
future
its like
listeners
TV.
know.
Yeah, but it'll do its
Um,
TV thing. It'll get a big audience. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to have part 3 in theaters or part 2 just at a way later date. We'll see. There's
I have
still
a
things to be
question. I have a
optimistic
question
about.
for a
But
viewer, but not a viewer watching this when it comes out. I have a question for a viewer down the line. When you watch an older episode, do you watch the news? Because it's not really news, but I don't know. That's an
yeah,
interesting thing.
they
Like,
know
do
the
do
results.
you just
Yeah.
watch the meat, or like if you're watching an older episode, do you watch all of it? That's just a question I just had in
They
my
probably,
brain.
I imagine they just watch the meat.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I won't get that
Yeah.
answer maybe now, but
Well,
in the
somebody who's watching this episode that could have watched older
yeah, that
episodes
is
when they
true.
started listening
That is just
can
a
can answer
question
the
I've had. I
question.
just went in my brain because, um, yeah, but I'm just talking
Yeah.
to future people right now.
That's true. Yeah. Our next piece of news is actually something that we already talked about at the beginning of the episode, which is that Inside Out 2 has passed Incredibles 2 to be the highest grossing Pixar movie in history. However, I have a little, not as big as Owen's game, but a little mini game to go along with Inside Out 2. Little trivia here. Can you guys name the 3 animated films that have grossed more than Inside Out 2? It currently ranks as the 4th highest grossing animated film
What
in
did it just
history.
pass?
It just passed Incredibles 2, so there are no Pixar films. It is now the
Does
highest grossing Pixar film, but there are 3 animated films above it.
does the Lion King remake count? Because
It
that is an
does. That is
animated
number
film.
1 off the
Okay.
board. Number 1 off the board. You have
It's
numbers
I'm good
2
at
and number
this.
3.
so it's not
Um,
the Toy Story sequels because that's
No,
Pixar.
not any Pixars. No.
so the
Inside Out
Lion
2
King
now
remake.
is the king of the Pixar movies in the box office.
So the Lion King
One
remake.
of them is a sequel.
That's what I'm thinking.
The other one is an original. Not
Does
original, it's part of an existing IP,
No.
but it is the first in a
Does the Way of Water count?
No, that does not count. No.
I'm like, because sequels, I was like, it's gonna be
Yeah.
sequels, but I don't know.
One of these is a sequel, but not a Pixar sequel. Think about
Yeah.
and it is quite recent. It's quite modern.
Something that did super well recently.
Like a DreamWorks thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, the Minions too?
That's not.
No. It is not a Minions movie
It's got to be like a
just
DreamWorks sequel, right?
It's is it DreamWorks?
Oh, wait,
No,
wait.
I don't think it is DreamWorks.
Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Bros is number
The
3,
original.
There we go.
not the
That's
sequel.
okay.
Not the
That's the
sequel. So
original.
you're
Yeah, so
still
that'll
But
be
the
one left.
sequel is really stumping me.
Yeah. I mean, when you know it, when you hear it, you're going to be like, "Oh, this makes sense." It's
Frozen 2.
It is Frozen 2. Yeah.
There we go.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I'm good at this, bro. Owen,
Yeah.
come on.
I just
I mean, listen, it's animated movies.
yeah, I
But
don't know.
you did do pretty good. You
It's
got all 3 of
fucking
them.
goo goo gaga. Like,
Speaking of sequels, man, there is not a single bad transition yet. Speaking of
bang,
sequels,
bang,
a sequel to The Devil Wears Prada is in the works, and Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci are all in talks to return. Although it seems like the premise that was originally described seemed like it was just between Meryl Streep and Emily Blunt, but I didn't include the actual premise in the news because I have a feeling that might be a little bit of fake news action, Because if Anne Hathaway's coming back, she's not coming back to be third lead in The Devil Wears Prada.
If she's coming back,
So
she's coming back.
yeah.
She should
So
come back.
I don't know. Listen,
I've never
I
seen
love
that
The Devil
movie.
Wears Prada. I love The Devil Wears Prada. I grew up
It's a
watching
cute
this movie
movie.
a
It's a cute
bunch.
movie.
It's so fun and I really like it. And I'm actually like totally cool with a sequel. Usually I like don't get super
Yeah.
excited, but I'm like, I would be there day one actually to watch this. It depends how it feels though. It has to feel like the
It's all
original.
about the
If it's just
feel.
like no, you know what I mean though? It's like they make these like sequel. I know like that one
Beast
movie came
Gas
out recently.
Grab,
They just did like
Bootleg,
the Eddie Murphy, what was it, Beverly Hills Cop, right? They just released like that new
Axel
one.
F.
Axel F.
Yeah.
And he
I
also
haven't
did a Coming to America sequel quite recently. He's
right.
on his
But it's like when
sequel
you're doing these
marathon.
movies and like the time between them has now been like 20 or 30 years, it's like hard to capture like the feeling that you have watching those because the nostalgia for it is like gone. It's like so modern that it just feels weird. So it's like if I could watch the Devil Wears Prada sequel and it feels like I'm watching it in 2004, then I'll be happy. But if it
That's not
feels
gonna
like
happen,
a
probably.
2024 movie or 2025, I guess, when it comes out, then I'm gonna be a little bit let
It's,
down. I don't know.
Top Gun: Maverick is kind
Yeah,
of
Top
like
Gun Maverick did it though.
yeah.
So it's
Well, I'm
like,
just that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, like, Top Gun: Maverick is, like, kind of probably the reason why this movie's happening.
yeah,
How do we
that's
make
true.
Top Gun: Maverick for
I
girls?
mean, well, Top Gun I mean, that's like kinda the Twister scenario, I guess, as well.
True. Same the
Um,
Twisters is happening because of Top Gun: Maverick
yeah,
probably too.
yeah, there's probably a number of those. Although I don't know that the audience carryover between Top Gun and Devil Wears Prada is like much of a I don't think there's
No,
much
No, they're
overlap there, but I
trying to
get
do
what
the
you're
same
saying.
thing in a
Yeah,
different
they're trying to replicate the same success, yeah. Last piece of news, I don't think you guys care about this. Actually, I think we might have talked about this on a previous episode, but now it's like a bigger story, which is that adaptations of 5 of Emily Henry's books are currently in the works. One of which is being written by her, or actually has been written. She's written the script for Funny Story, the adaptation of her own book. Other ones are being written by other people. 4 of them are being turned into movies. One of them is being turned into a series. Um, I think she only has 7 books and there's like the 5 major ones and all 5 of them are being worked on into like adaptations at the same time. And I know it probably doesn't excite you guys, but
no, I get it.
this is like kind of probably the closest we can get to like attempting to revive the rom-com a little bit is like doing adaptations where you're going to pull in big audiences of like people who love romance novels, you
Mhm,
know? Like they're kind of doing that right now with the Colleen Hoover book, except like Emily Henry, Colleen Hoover, not the same. And that Colleen Hoover movie is going to suck. But like people are going to go watch that Colleen Hoover movie. Like that movie's going to make like a lot of fucking money.
mhm,
Um, so it's like I think if you could do that where like you're adapting like romance novels that there's like a really big audience for, but they're like fun, lighthearted, like kind of like perfect material for a rom-com with like an established audience,
mhm.
you could have some real success here, you know?
Yeah,
Like it's like if we
yeah.
just get 5 Emily Henry adaptations in the span of like 2 or 3 years, it's going to be pretty awesome if they're as good as the books, which is like the floor, you know? Like it's like they're not like I don't know. I've only read one of them the whole way through and I'm like this isn't the most impressive thing, but like it when I read it I was like yeah, it feels like a rom-com. Like I'm like I could see this as a movie immediately.
I went on a date with a girl who, really liked Emily Henry a lot, and I bought her favorite Emily Henry book, and I started reading it, and I was like, "I get it," and then I stopped reading it.
They're so fun though. I don't know. I've talked a lot to a friend of the pod Sophie about this because
Sophie
Sophie
Holsinger?
yeah, Sophie's a big fan of Emily Henry, and Sophie has kind of pointed me in the direction of like, well, I ended up buying 4 of these 5 books that are being adapted. I just have to buy the one more, but I do want to read all 5 of them. I've read one, I've read another one halfway through, and Sophie kind of sent me like her favorite, like like how she'd rank them, so that I kind of have a point of reference for which ones I might like and dislike.
Yeah, I have
But
2 of her books. I was looking around and seeing if I
yeah,
could find them, but
but I don't know. Just based on like how they're written, I'm like, yeah, this is perfect rom com material, and we don't really have a lot of perfect rom com material right now, so it's exciting for me. I don't know what Hereditary has to do with this, but for the listener, Doug just pulled out a Hereditary book.
you
Anyway,
ruined it now.
that what do you mean I ruined it? Listeners have to know what's happening.
You, like, full stopped the words you were saying into, like
No, I mean I was done. That's the last piece of news, so we could
okay.
wrap up there, and you could come back next week for episode 76, where we talk about a movie we just mentioned, Twisters. So
Twisters.
we'll see you later. Bye.
Muhammad Ali's gonna be on that episode.